Alright, I definitely want at least 6 counterspells that hit to fairy. I'm pretty fond of a 3rd Shark Typhoon as a weapon against Gruul. I think I like that more than Rewind. Heartless Act I don't think needs to be main decked because every deck that is aggressive right now seems to be playing green and red cards anyway. And I think... Part wants to try some Syncopate as well, just because it's a new counterspell we don't have access to in Standard. We'll probably go down 1 Sailor. Up 2 Syncopate, try it like that. 3 Sailor seems fine, especially if I'm ditching Rewinds. But probably the last thing should just be some more removal. Couple of eliminate over Heartless Act here because they actually kill Tef, and because the Borrowers and the Blacklands Paragon give us a lot of answers to Questing Beast, which is the main card I'm worried about countering most of the time. For Dispute in the board, we got pretty much down for a mix of Heartless Acts, Grasps, and Eliminates. Could bring in 2 more of these, but against Tef, I'm not going to sideboard these in against Tef decks. I'm just going to bring in Mystical Dispute. Do some Whirlwind Denial on the board here. Good to see you too, Semiogeny. Just putting the finishing touches on this. There's probably some good historic cards I'm not thinking of. Oh, Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce probably belongs in here. Certainly it's a good weapon against low-to-the-ground blue flashy decks. Maybe over Negate. Maybe I just don't need Negates at all and would just rather have Spell Pierce. Negates, in theory, helpful against big mana decks, but probably not actually that good. I'll also use some Discard against, like, Golos Field. Maybe a couple of Rewind against Golos Field, just some big counterspell that actually lets me keep up tempo. Run a couple Pierce. Maybe 1 more Noxious Grasp. 1 more Whirlwind Denial for the Ulamog decks. Some Disfigures, possibly. Alright, we can start here. There are definitely going to be a lot of flaws in this list, but we'll work it out over time. And mana source-wise, pretty happy with 18 black sources. Probably go... Given we've got the Gadwick here, I think we could go up to Triple Island. Or an extra island and go up to 20 blue sources. Yep, we're going to start with Blue-Black Flash, and then we've got Wyatt Darby's 5-color Yorion list built, which I'm pretty excited to try out. It looked pretty sweet on his stream when I watched it recently. And then probably some Temur Clover, because I haven't lost in Historic yet after 4 matches with Temur Clover, so I figure I should at least play it until I lose with it. Good morning to you too, Wairus. Alright, so Blue-Black Flash, let's do this. Basic idea here is that hopefully some kind of flash counterspell strategy is going to be great against Nexus, and how do you make it good against Gruul? Well, you're not going to be able to fight Gruul very well with only blue cards. Blue does not deal with big creatures well, but black gives you access to a lot of actual removal, including Blacklands Paragon, which has great synergy with Slitherwisp, and just murders Questing Beasts. At least that's the theory. This deck's been pretty good in Standard for me. Okay. Yeah, I think I just ditched Sailor here. It's not going to be drawing me cards anytime soon. Yep, Rouge, I think it is. I mean, it's nice that it's a counterspell that triggers Slitherwisp. I do like that, but 4 mana counterspells that don't give me back any mana advantage are pretty risky. Usually by the time I'm playing things that cost 4 mana, I want to be affecting the board in some way, like with Shark Typhoon or Gadwick. That said, I haven't tried it. And if you want to play the deck, you could always give it a shot. Alright, Mono Red. This is not a deck I've seen much of in Historic yet. But I like that I have a mix of life gain removal spells and quenches. Blacklands Paragon is pretty bad against Embercleave. So I'm probably going to want to try and get some use out of these early. The opponent could pump the Dodger to get past Blacklance Paragon, but them attacking my opponent back for more than they're attacking me for? So that's fine. If they want to use this, I just get to start hitting them with Paragon and hold up a counter spell. And this also means they can't get off light up the stage this turn if that was their goal. So at this point, any fourth land is a pretty good draw, especially a black source. Slitherwisp is annoyingly hard to cast sometimes. Robber of the Rich. Okay, yeah, that one I'm pretty happy just to jam a second Paragon into it. I've got to be careful to try and actually get use out of my my Quench.
They're suspicious.
They're very suspicious, Tammy.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
Because you...
Oh, I didn't even really notice that our opponent was not attacking with Robber of the Rich there. Oops. I was hovering over this and didn't even notice. All right, so I should have played Brineborn Cutthroat that turn. That would have been a better play than Blacklance Paragon. Nonetheless, I think we'll probably be okay. Seems like our opponent might be planning on trading off Robber of the Rich for a Blacklance, but that's fine. I'm going to keep dealing more damage to them than they can deal to me.
That seems wrong.
I mean, they should have blocked there, I think. They're going to have a hard time racing me if their plan is, oh, Burning Tree Emissary, that's cute. I'll allow it. I'll allow a 2-2. I can counter a Torbrand, I can counter an Anax, I can counter an Embercleave. Yeah, so I guess in theory I could let them have Torbrand and then bounce it. Is that better than going for... Yeah, I think I like bouncing the Torbrand here because it lets me have Quench be a live card next turn to play alongside like Brineborn Cutthroat, for example. I can't stop them from getting a Robber of the Rich trigger. Wow. One was very suspicious here.
What the heck?
I don't understand what they thought was going to happen. Thanks for your commentary, Tammy. Ether Gust, alright. Well, this is a little awkward. We kind of needed more spells than this at some point. But Ether Gust does mean I can... Let's see, I don't really want to be trading Blacklance Paragon for Tin Street Dodger here. I'd rather be blocking my opponent's 2-power creatures. I'm just going to wait. Eventually, I'm going to be able to... Actually, I'll just Quench this, I guess. Ether Gust is going to be pretty useful alongside Brineborn Cutthroat at some point. Do need that fourth land, so I can really get going with the hand. But the opponent's got an awfully slow clock if I trade with these 2-power creatures they have. I guess at this point, definitely a bit confused by these plays. Suppose I'll double block the Fervent Champion. Just trade one Blacklance Paragon for it. I kind of value getting rid of it because if they ever get an Embercleave down, they can leave that thing for free, which is pretty annoying. And now we'll just wait. I've got Brineborn Cutthroat plus Ether Gust. Okay, they're almost out of spells. And Anax Hardened in the Forge, I don't care about too much. That actually gives me time to get down Slitherwisp before I Cutthroat, I think. I guess they can activate Robber of the Rich if I don't Gust it. So I could go Cutthroat, Gust the Robber, so they don't actually get an attack off with it, and follow up with Slitherwisp next turn, but I like the idea of getting Slitherwisp down here, I think. The main way I get really punished for this is if they hit something good off of Robber. I'm going to play Slitherwisp before they have the chance to hit a counterspell. Oh, that's good. I like seeing them use the Tin Street Dodger there. Means that there is pretty much nothing they can cast off Robber. They definitely can't cast Shark Typhoon. I'll trade with it here. It's now an actual threat for potentially getting spells off my deck. Anax is tricky, but as long as I have Ether Gust up, this Slitherwisp is going to pull me ahead pretty fast. Just going to cast Cutthroat now. It might affect, you know, if I draw an island, I might decide to play an island and have the option to play Brazen Borrower up. Alright, see you, Young Cyanide. Sorry about your internet. Okay, that's not an Embercleave. I'm really glad our opponent's not bluffing an Embercleave. That would make my life much harder. They decided to do that, but as is, I think double Brineborn Cutthroat plus the Ether Gust we have in hand should be plenty of leverage to kill them. Alright, they're coming in with Anax here. You're thinking better of it. Oh, it's good to note that Tin Street Dodger is an actual rogue, so I guess if they draw a land next turn, they can cast my Shark Typhoon. So that's something.
But it has to be a non-creature spell, so like they only have what, Embercleave?
They're not going to be able to trigger Shark Typhoon very well, but they still could cast. I mean, now I can counter it, so it's kind of a moot point. All right, so this is a situation where I'm gonna wait till my opponent's turn to play Borrower out, which means I might as well play this land. Borrower actually puts a clock on them, which is great. And it is nice to know that we could have dealt with an Embercleave this whole time, had it come to that. I mean, maybe not the second time around, but I guess with the Lofty Denial we could have. They had one last turn.
Is Lofty Denial?
Nope, it's an M21.
Oh, it's new.
It's new. Fervent Champion doesn't really accomplish anything. I unfortunately can't counter that, and I can't really counter Embercleave with Lofty Denial either. Lofty Denial really doesn't do much at this juncture. But we're in a pretty reasonable spot anyway. I think our opponent is trying to... I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they might have been trying to cycle Shark Typhoon before realizing they couldn't cycle Shark Typhoon because you can't cycle cards you get off Robber the Rich.
Awkward.
It is awkward, yes.
I say that because I've done that once.
Alright, so now we should be guaranteed to win. Blacklands Paragon. So this is the nice thing about the Slitherwisp deck aspect of this, is that Slitherwisp can do things that Nightpack Ambusher can't. I'm just going to keep playing out flashcards. Hey there, Ride or Die. And is Brazen Borrower lethal? We've got 6 attackers, but 2 of them can't be blocked anyway, but our opponent has 4 blockers, so if I bounce Anax attack with everything, they're dead, yeah. Easy peasy.
Did.
Good warm-up. Playing against regular old standard mono red.
What does Mono Red get in Historic?
I don't know.
I thought I've seen some old.
Okay, so Spell Pierce really only hits Embercleave and Random Light up the stages early, so even though it's a 1-drop, I don't think I want it too much. What else could I do with that? Brazen Borrower is nice against Cleave and can give us a little bit of tempo against Anax and Torbran. Still think I'm pretty happy cutting that down to a 3, Spectral Sailor down to a 2, and probably Lofty Denial if I'm losing a bunch of flyers gets worse. Gadwick's also maybe a little slow, although if it actually resolves and sticks around, it's an incredible asset. Let's dump an Denial in 1 Gadwick. This is a pretty arbitrary sideboard plan, as you can tell.
Blow up.
You can blow up Embercleave attacks, but it's pretty bad against everything else. We have a lot of answers to Cleave with 4 Ether Gust in the deck.
Yeah, good against Anax is good against. I like Brazen Borrower.
Tammy likes Brazen Borrower, chat. So this is a nice early Brineborn Cutthroat draw. We're hoping our opponent doesn't have a stomp for it or something. But Scorched Bitter is going to run into these sooner or later. JFB, so this deck is playing Blacklands Paragon in the main, just because Gruul is so common. What else? We get access to some Syncopate, which I don't actually think I'm playing right now, but Syncopate's a card I've considered. You get Drowned Catacomb, of course, which is pretty good. Okay, so now I get to make some decisions. I think currently I'm pretty interested in just waiting. I could have eliminated the Steamkin before I had the chance to grow. That doesn't seem too useful. If they play like an Anax this turn, I'd like to counter. If they play another Steamkin, I'm just going to Black Lance Paragon their first Steamkin. I'd rather start with Black Lance Paragon than Eliminate, just because Black Lance gains me life reliably, and is much worse against Embercleave and Stomp and such. I'm just really, really fond of Black Lance Paragon. Historic, I love that it kind of plays two roles. It's a great defensive tool against aggro decks, and also can pressure like the Nexus decks pretty well. Okay, opponent's got a Robber. So if they attack with everything, I might just Slitherwisp, try to eat the Scorch Spitter, and then they have to have exactly Shock. Nope, they're not attacking at all. Yeah, if you're not attacking into this kind of board against me, you're in deep trouble. I'm gonna play out Cutthroat here because it could hit a land drop for me. I would love to hit a land drop. More Cutthroats are also fine. We are in a slight pickle against Embercleave in that we don't have an actual counter for it, but we've got to Eliminate. Weed, if that's a recent deck that somebody put together, I've never seen it or heard of it, but I'm curious. I should take a look at some point. Alright, Torbrand's a tough cookie. Gonna have to make some hard decisions here. We'll see what a Spectral Sailor finds for me as far as making decisions about fighting a Torbrand. Ooh, they hit a Black Lance Paragon. That's a significant thing. Definitely want to kill Steamkin. I think I might just trade Slitherwisp for Steamkin and Spectral Sailor for Scorch Spitter. That means that Brineborn Cutthroat's actually going to be big enough to fight to kill Torbrand, which is pretty good, because otherwise I don't really have much for Torbrand. Yeah, I'm okay taking 4. This isn't a... Oh, okay, we drew Heartless Act, which is nice. So, feeling pretty good going into this turn. Pre-combat, I can just murder... Alright, great. So they don't have Embercleave up right now. If I just go Cutthroat into Heartless Act on the Torbrand. I'm gonna wait for them to attack and have these robbers trigger before I fire the Heartless Act at the Torbrand. Great. Actually, wait, that was bad. That was bad. That gives them Embercleave. That was really bad. Hold on. I'm really glad that Heartless Act gives me the prompt before it tries to kill something with no counters on it. That was really, really bad, chat. I absolutely should have killed the Torbrand pre-combat. Here's the Embercleave to punish me. Although it does mean they're not casting Black Lance Paragon. So I think that's actually fine.
Wait, what was the are you sure message?
I had set it to the remove counters mode, and Torbrand had no counters on it. So Arena was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Alright, so now fortunately I get to kill both of the robbers anyway. I take a little bit of damage, but I've got a lot of stuff in my hand, including access to a really big Lofty Denial, which can counter anything bigger than a 1-drop now that I have Shark Typhoon available. Game's not over, but I think I'm pretty favored from here. Anax, Hardened in the Forge. I can eliminate that. They do get 1 token that gets to wear Embercleave, so I think I'm just going to Shark Typhoon here. Ooh, Ether Gust is excellent. Yeah, they might have been trying to make choices or something. I don't get it. Alright, Quench at least stopped another Torbrand. Good game, opponent. Or maybe my opponent's going to scoop. I mean, if they want to scoop, I'm into it. I mean, you're the one who didn't put enough removal in your deck to stop a Slitherwisp, opponent. Alright, so now I get to Cutthroat. And just to make the Cutthroat a little bit bigger, I think I just Gust the Cleave now. Because none of my opponent's creatures really threaten me very much. That's silly, though. That's silly. I can leave the Cleave here. It's not doing anything to me right now. We've got multiple removal spells to stop anything from ever picking it up.
Isn't it better to...
Yeah, Tammy, the reason I was thinking about Gusting was to grow the Cutthroat, which makes my clock a little faster.
I see.
And then if Embercleave's off the board, many of their creatures don't mean much anyway. But I think it was better just to leave it there. Alright, well, nice clean 2-0 against the mono-red player. Let's see if we can hit some Gruul and some Nexus now. SO63! I like how we're saying each other's names. Hi there. Shout to you. Well, some of this is testing, and some of this is me being pretty bored with Standard, frankly. Obviously, Jumpstart's going to change the format somewhat, and the bans on Monday may change the format somewhat. I'm basically playing a bunch of decks with cards I don't think are going to be banned, and maybe figuring out which decks seem good enough to be worth trying to upgrade with Jumpstart. I think there are a few Jumpstart cards that seem powerful enough to maybe spark new archetypes, but a lot of the same old stuff is still going to be good. There aren't that many completely game-breaking historic cards. Yep, After Office TV, this is a good streamer that we're playing against right now. Highly recommend seeking them out at the After Office TTV Twitch channel. One of the foremost Temur Clover players that streams, or used to play Temur Clover. I don't know if he does anymore. Oh, summer camp roommates. Huh. I don't want to, like, ask you to, like, give out your name on stream or anything, because that might be a little weird, but can you give me any hints as to who you might be? Ooh, opponent's playing vampires, which means we've got a dead Aethergust in hand. Very smart opponent, very smart. I like we have several counters for Torbrand, for Sorin. Yeah, Shouty, I think the problem with Allosaurus Riot Shepherd is you need to play elves, like a lot of elves. Like, Jor-El seems much, much better at doing kind of a similar thing. Not that the cards are exactly the same, of course, but I think Allosaurus, like, Elves' biggest problem is just Shadow the Sky, and I don't think that Allosaurus Shepherd really deals with that too well. Alright, so if they're just going to play out some random tokens and stuff, I'll probably just kill this Legion Lieutenant at the end of the turn. Knight of the Ebon Legion is fine. Is it fine? I could also quench this. Problem is I don't really have... I would rather save this quench for, like, a thing that's going to draw them a million cards. Yeah, I'll allow Knight of the Ebon Legion to come down because it just trades with Black Lance Paragon. And then they're going to the end of the turn, so I'll just kill off the Lieutenant. Legion's Landing could be a problem long term, although if I can keep Spectral Sailor alive, I should be able to outpace the Vampire generation. Alejandro! Yeah, of course, of course. I guess this is less of a coincidence than the time you recognized me at Grand Prix Vegas. That was quite something.
Cool.
Alright, so if the opponent really wants to hit me with Knight of the Ebon Legion and pump it this turn, that's fine. What I would really like to do this turn is play Spectral Sailor and get out Lofty Denial on whatever they have to follow up. As long as they're not triggering this to grow and not flipping the Legion's Landing. Pretty okay. Veto. Yeah, I'm going to say no to Veto here. I guess I actually just go Sailor plus Quench here. And then I save Lofty Denial because it's a better counterspell than Quench now, and I don't expect Sailor to die. It's going to be an interesting little war here. They have a lot of spells in a row. It's going to be tough. Would love to have the chance to, like, activate Sailor this turn instead of countering something, but I doubt we're going to have that luxury. Second Knight of the Ebon Legion is actually fine. I guess they're going to get to flip Landing if I let this come down. But I think I just allow it. I would really like to draw a card now.
I have a question.
What's your question, Tammy?
Why didn't you block Knight of the...
I want to draw a card. We cost 4 mana with this. Alright, so unfortunately we're on only 2 black mana here, which means we can't go Slitherwisp plus Black Lance Paragon. What I can do is have Slitherwisp come in and block the Vampire token next turn, so even if my opponent flips Knight of the Ebon Legion, I still get to eat one of their tokens and then have Lofty Denial for a follow-up if they have some big play. And then once Slitherwisp is down, Spectral Sailor draws me a card, Black Lance Paragon draws me a card. We should be able to be in pretty good shape against them. I would say I was going to veto, yes. Yep. I remember the Vampire deck. I actually played that at one of the Magic Online challenges. I didn't like the deck that much, but I was like feeling uninspired by Standard and just picked up the first thing I could find. And of course, just went 1-2 against people who knew what they were doing against vampires. I feel like that probably taught me a lesson of some kind. Alright, there's Heartless Act for Slitherwisp. Hopefully they don't have another one. If they have 2 Heartless Acts in hand, then I'm going to be really sad and probably lose this game. Man, Heartless Act and Eliminate. Alright, well, that's kind of sad. If I had had the third black source, I could have played Black Lance Paragon there instead and at least gotten a card off the Wisp. I do like Brazen Borrower. That one's not bad. Second Sailor's not great. I might just end up trading that with a Vampire token or something. Can also see maybe if they're gonna... I guess I also don't have a counterspell for a Champion of Dusk, which is a big problem. I can just borrow the token. So that's something, I guess. Alright, well, here comes everyone. Once I get the Dead Ether Gust out of my deck, this matchup should get better. Wouldn't be surprised if their hand was just chock full of removal spells right now. So we'll take out the Knight of the Ebon Legion, borrow the token before it gains them some more life. I guess this means we're running shields down and not showing counterspells, but I don't have any counterspells, so it's whatever.
Did you choose the wrong night?
They just pumped the wrong Knight of the Ebon Legion?
The wrong night.
I think they forgot that Black Knight's Paragon gets Death Touch, which is a good bonus for me. I like that part. I could have saved that Sailor in case we drew another Slitherwisp, and that might in fact have been the right thing to do. Knight of the Ebon Legion is going to kill me in a hurry at this rate. I guess if I play Champion of Dusk and I can get Borrower and then maybe rip some interaction off Sailor, I might be able to race them. Sanctum Seeker, that's going to be much harder to race. Alright, so let's see if I can draw a counterspell off these Sailors. Primeborn Cutthroat's not bad, actually. Pretty happy jamming that one. And I think I'm just trading it with Knight of the Ebon Legion. Like, it can grow next turn, but Knight of the Ebon Legion can just pump next turn. Although, I guess if I draw, like, a removal spell, I can then, like, get Cutthroat big enough to stop Sanctum Seeker. And Sanctum Seeker is pretty hard for me to kill in any other way besides blocking with Cutthroat. Nah, I can get Shark Typhoon at this point. I think I'm going to go for this block. Hard decision. Another Slitherwisp is pretty good. I like that. I now wish I'd saved the other Sailor. DM Viper, yeah, I played some standard Blue-Black Flash on a recent stream. Not yesterday's, but I think the Tuesday stream I did. Alright, so can't block Seeker right now. This is going to hit us pretty hard. This plus Adanto is going to hit us pretty hard. And now they have a 5th land. I do expect to see Champion of Dusk come down. Adanto Vanguard is easier to deal with, maybe. Would be unsurprised if they had more removal for Slitherwisp. They've been playing not a lot of spells and stuff here. But we're still in it. Shark Typhoon could be a really good thing for us. Alright, there's another removal spell. There's Gadwick. Alright, that's a really good one. So we'll jam this thing, draw 3 cards off of it. We're going to have to chump Sanctum Seeker with a Spectral Sailor here. But once that's over with... Alright, and I'm going to probably be cycling this as a Goth Triome, hitting with Brazen Borrower. This is still not a great position. If they can kill Gadwick, I'm in trouble. And Sanctum Seeker does drain me for a lot of life. Champion of Dusk is bad news, because now they get to draw 3 cards, and they're gaining enough life that I can't just kill them. But it's not just over. Alright, so we're going to block Vanguard, go to 3. I could double block Sanctum Seeker, but losing Gadwick does not seem like a winning line. And this keeps me alive through their next turn. I assume we're going to see them pay 4 life to keep Vanguard alive. Yep. Brazen Borrower is absurdly good. That triggers Gadwick twice and triggers Slitherwisp, all of which is amazing. So now I actually get to go for... So if I go Slitherwisp, I can tap down the Champion of Dusk, hit my opponent for 7, and then I can just get rid of their other 2 creatures, and I probably just win at that point.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay. So Slitherwisp taps down Champion of Dusk. I get to attack for 7. And then Borrower is 2 blue spells plus a bounce spell, which means they have no creatures attacking me. Vampires doesn't exactly run haste threats, so this should be it. This should be game. Actually, I guess if they eliminate Gadwick in response to me casting Borrower, using Borrower, they get to attack with one thing, but I still get to bounce Seeker and tap Champion. Okay, Veto's great. Veto's great. That gives them less mana to play around with stuff. They shouldn't have ways to gain life independent of attacking, I don't think. Well, you're welcome, Maddie Mayhem. Dead to 3-mana Sorin. That is true, Shandu. That is true. If they'd had that, I would have had, I guess, cast Brazen Bar and try to hit exactly a 2-mana counterspell, but fortunately, they didn't. So, bounce Seeker, tap Champion. And I guess I can let Vanguard attack. Well, they're going to play Sorin if they have it, so there's not really much use to not doing this. Yeah, we might just die to Sorin here. Close game, though. Close game in the end. Please don't have it. Please don't have it. Oh, they had it. They had it. All right. We've died. Couldn't have stopped that. We didn't have the counterspell for it. But we get to get Ether Gust out of our deck. We had that in our hand the whole time, which was not helpful. And just bring in a little bit more removal. Noxious Grasp can hit like vampire tokens. It can't really hit a Danto Vanguard, but it can hit Legion Lieutenant, and I'm guessing they probably also run Duskborn Sky Marcher? Or not Duskborn Sky Marcher, the 2/1 white vampire. Not 100% sure this has enough targets, but let's think about what else I might want to take out. Honestly, I like a lot of my cards against them. Sailor could maybe be cut down to a 2 of. Belpier seems pretty bad. Whirlwind Denial seems okay if the game goes long, and these games could go pretty long. Aspirin, that's it. I think I'll just stick with this. At least on the play, having more counters is nice. If they show me Aspirants next game, I probably bring in some number of Noxious Grasp for game 3. But I liked how close that was. Okay, seems pretty fine. Bunch of Cutthroat, bunch of counterspells to stop them from killing my Cutthroat too early. They can't really afford to hold up removal early too well. And a Gadwick for later. Shark Typhoon could eventually do something. That was a card I would have wanted last game. We'll need to be hitting some lands, though, at some point. Don't really want to offer the Cutthroat and trade, honestly. My real hope is that they forget what they're doing and go for Heartless Act on it, but I don't think they're going to. Alright, they're just going to pass, so I think I just play another Cutthroat. And they probably kill the first one, but, you know, what am I going to do about that? Or I could wait. Problem is I don't really have much in the way of land drops, unless I draw like a blue source next turn, then waiting hasn't been all that productive. Yeah, I'll just play this other one out. If they kill the first one, it's fine. We're kind of in the same position we were before. Yeah, that's fine. And a blue source is excellent. Alright, so I've got double Quench Up. I've got a Shark Typhoon for 2. Lots of good stuff. We're getting closer to casting Gadwick, which is my version of Champion of Dusk. If they have, like, cheap vampires and they're trying to sneak cheap vampires in under Quench, then good for them. I'll just Shark Typhoon their Legion Lieutenant instead. Okay, so the question is, do I double Quench this? Or do I Shark Typhoon? I think I go for Double Quench. I just think our opponent's playing around these pretty well. This means I can't quench a Champion of Dusk, admittedly, but it does also mean I get to swing for a bunch of damage this turn. Tough decision. Maybe Shark Typhoon cycling was the better choice there. But I like getting Brineborn Cutthroat to actually be a clock. If they just played Champion of Dusk, then that was probably the wrong choice. Quench definitely looking a lot worse than Syncopate, which is a card I've considered playing. Alright, they're going for Sorin. I can allow Sorin. If Sorin puts in a Champion of Dusk, I'm going to be a sad panda. I think Vampires in general seems like it lines up pretty well against what I'm doing here. Aggro, but unlike Gruul, it's actually got some card advantage to go with the aggro. Hey there, Ace of Swords. Okay, they plus the Sorin. They're going to hit me with the Lieutenant, I guess. If I get to attack their Sorin back and kill it, I'm pretty okay with this exchange. Good evening, Began. Would really like to hit that 5th land, particularly a blue-producing one. Alright, so if the opponent has like another Eliminate, and they can kill the big Cutthroat, that's awkward. This only gets Death Touch till end of turn, so it doesn't have it now, so I guess I'll just go in with, let's see if they can protect Sorin. See what's going on here. I would have expected to see them try to kill the Cutthroat end of turn if they had a removal spell. Okay. If this is like a Disfigure or something and they try that... Oh, okay, they're removing counters. So I get to go with... Yeah, I'm just going to bounce the Lieutenant now, of course. Keeping my Cutthroat alive. Not my favorite thing, since they just get to recast it, and Sorin does have a lot of loyalty, but it does mean that their removal spell accomplished nothing. I'm almost at the point of just wanting to cycle Shark Typhoon at the end of the turn. Frankly, I'm kind of tired of having no lands. Subhype! Maddie Mayhem, thank you for the subscription! Crimson, probably after this match or one more match. We'll see how long this one goes. Gruul Dinosaurs in Historic we in Magic. I think you'd need a pretty compelling reason not to be playing the Gruul deck that is the best deck in Historic, but if you have that, you have my blessing. But I can't say I've played enough Historic to really have strong opinions about random decks when I don't even know the list. Opponent's considering whether they want to use Sorin to kill off a Brineborn Cutthroat with this token. Fine by me if they do. And I don't think I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon at this point. We're in a low resource game. I'd rather actually get some genuine value out of it. 3rd land is a black source. That's just perfect. Alright, so Shark Typhoon can at least trade with Legion Lieutenant, potentially. It's really just a race to see if I can get an island before they get a Champion of Dusk here. Hey there, Blasia. Yeah, I'm a little bit curious about... Oof. Alright, so never mind me being able to kill anything with a shark here. If they kill Cutthroat here, that's a bizarre choice. They should absolutely give some lifelink to this thing and go in. Yeah, it seems right. But that means I can just take it, cast Brazen Borrower, grow Cutthroat, force the opponent to trade with Cutthroat if they don't want Sorin to die. And Drown Catacomb means I can actually cycle for a 4/4 Shark, and I think I'm going to do that before I Gadwick anything. Yeah, I guess it depends which dinosaurs you're playing. I think the only playable enraged dinosaur is Ripjaw Raptor, and if you're playing Gruul with a bunch of Ripjaw Raptors, it seems like that would be pretty good against other Gruul decks, although I also think you'd probably have a hard time against Nexus if you're playing like 4/5s for 4 without haste. Munch, 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 munch. Delicious. Okay, Adonto Vanguard, not too frightening. Gadwick the Wizened, probably very frightening. Those are some good cards. And I guess I'll hold back the Shark here. I'm pretty much in the control role, not in any rush to kill them. Zweck Dog. I've actually seen that happen exactly once before myself. At this point, I've seen pretty much everything in Temur Clover, but that's something I remember because I've only seen it exactly once. It's a rare sight. Alright, Vanguard's getting in. Do I need to block this? I don't really think I need to. Yeah, next turn, I mean, it's never attacking again for one with the Gadwick out, and for two, Brianborn Cutthroat's going to be big enough to beat it. I did not see any of the aspirants. Noxious Grasp can kill Legion Lieutenant, but so can... Like, Legion Lieutenant they just kind of die to all my other stuff, too? Tricky. And then it kills Vampire Tokens, but Vampire Tokens just die to Brazen Borrower? I think I'm pretty down with exactly the list we brought into the last game. Okay, so this game's going to really depend on how good their first two turns are. Legion's Landing isn't that frightening because I have Brazen Borrower. And depending on their turn 2 play, I could see running out Sailor to try and kill this thing. Adonto Vanguard. Alright, so am I running out Sailor to try and kill this token? Just because it's extra damage? I don't think I am. I think I can take a couple of hits off of these two, counter some spells, eventually borrow the token. It's tricky. Sailor, I could save for Slitherwisp. I don't really mind having it around, at least. Definitely not blocking with it here. I think I've made my bet at this point. Four return's a good amount, but if it doesn't increase, I'll be fine. Another Legion's Landing is totally okay. Is this where Maddie shows me the hidden black source? Oh, there is no hidden black source. That's not great. Alright, so we'll get rid of this thing. And Brianborn Cutthroat's a really excellent pickup. Maddie doesn't have a good spell to play this turn, then probably getting down Borrower into Cutthroat plus Counterspell seals the deal. Alright, there's something, and there's Knight of the Ebon Legion, so I can Lofty Denial that. I could also just run out Brazen Borrower and have Cutthroat for it. I think I need to counter this, unfortunately. They have another Adonto Vanguard, that would be a problem. Hopefully not. Running out the Legion's Landing last turn makes me think they didn't have a Vanguard. Great. Oh, Gadwick's perfect. Gadwick is just perfect. So as long as they can be something quenchable next turn, I feel great about where we're going with this. Certainly the game's far from over, but I'm happy with our position. Don't want to flash in Cutthroat yet, just because I don't have anything to quench. Maybe it's possible I should have killed this token, but I can still take 3 hits from Vanguard? Jeez. Well, Maddie's doing a great job of playing around Quench here. Maybe this card should be Syncopate, honestly. This is pretty embarrassing. Oh, and they get to pump the Knight? That's actually really bad, huh? That's really bad now. Okay, well, I'll jam... I think it's still Cutthroat over Borrower. Because Cutthroat can actually block. Yeah, I should have blocked this token, I think. Although it was hard to tell that their whole hand was going to be things I couldn't quench, given how many expensive spells they play. They might have boarded out some of the expensive spells for cheap removal, I guess. I think this has to be Gadwick, and then hope to just keep their offense tapped down for a while. Because they only have one black source, there's a limit to how much removal they can pull out next turn. Yeah, Kevlar, man, I really don't think the Quench there seems right, given that Quench can tap something down. And I was pretty sure that Maddie didn't have another spell to cast, given what we'd seen from them so far. That ability they're holding up could just be add-on to a Vanguard. Alright, Slitherwisp is nice. Slitherwisp is really nice, actually. No attacks here, we just gotta try and stay alive. Probably not. I just think I'm gonna need Quench to actually trade for a card later if I'm winning the game. Eliminate Gadwick is fine. I can actually block and kill Knight of the Ebon Legion, which is nice. And is that what I'm doing? Yeah, regrettably, I think it is. Although if I block a Danto Vanguard... Never mind, let's block a Danto Vanguard here. This keeps me at a life total where I can actually afford to take an Adanto Vanguard hit next turn. But it's not looking great. And Knight also doesn't grow. Another Adanto Vanguard. Wow, alright. I was just completely bamboozled by the hand the whole time. How do we take... Oh, they paid the Adanto Vanguard life, which means Knight grows anyway. Okay, it's not completely unwinnable yet. Not yet. It is bad. Slightly better wish board. It's more better mana. And also just like you play against a different mix of decks, not having Temur Reclamation is great. I think we're going to die in this one. Just Danto Vanguard's really good against us, and having a bunch of Quenches did not line up well at all against the particular way that Madi played out their spells. Any Lofty Denials, and we would have probably been in a winning position here. But it's tough. I think Team Rec is a worse matchup than Nexus Rec, yeah. I've only played against Nexus Rec once, but it felt like a pretty clean win. I mean, the win I had felt pretty clean. The nice thing about Nexus Rec is that Brazen Borrower is very good against it. Much better than against Team Rec, because they play a bunch of Tameo and a bunch of Search for Escanta. And actually getting to like meaningfully interact with permanents using Brazen Borrower was a huge deal. That said, I've played the matchup exactly once, and it might just be atrocious. I'm not aware of it yet. Alright, here they come with some attacks. Probably there's a removal spell in there somewhere. And it's a removal spell I can't quench, of course. Gonna do my best here, but probably dying. Really need like Black Lance Paragon or Eliminate to stay in this one. Okay, Brineburn Cutthroat actually kind of works too. We'll see, we'll see. A Sorin in hand just kills me, because I can't really afford to block everything here, or can I? I guess I kind of can. Like if I go block, block... Well, they can just pump the Knight though, so that doesn't really work. If I block both Vanguards and they pump the Knight, they go to 6 life, which means or I guess 7 life off of the token dying, which means I could punk them out with Slitherwisp triggers, potentially? Maybe? Yeah, I could also put the 5/4 on a Vanguard. Yeah, and have it live and that, and yeah, that's probably a little better. Lots of decisions here, blocking wise. Let's do this. How much is Maddie going to take here? How many removal spells does Maddie have? How many Sorins? Let's find out about all these things. Hovering over the graveyard. Okay, Vanguard dies, and if Maddie has removal, Does Maddie send it at Slitherwisp or Brineborn? I mean, Slitherwisp, I guess. It's not actually a hard question. We're not Oh, wow. Well, that's why Maddie was looking at the graveyard. That's a Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord we're seeing. That's going to make it really hard to race. So much for Quench. Nice Quench. There's Lofty Denial. Where have you been all my life? Okay, so I guess I punch in at Sorin using Slitherwisp. I do have Paragon plus Borrower plus Lofty Denial to counter any single spell next turn, which is pretty good. The problem is that Sorin means I'm just never killing Maddie. Like, Vanguards are basically unkillable forever now, which is kind of horrendous news. Could I afford to send Cutthroat at Sorin as well? I don't think so. I think I just have to try and kill Sorin slowly. Alright, so they pay 4, they gain 1 off Sorin. Sorin gets to bring back potentially Knight of the Ebon Legion next turn too, which is awful. But I at least can counter any actual spells that Maddie plays. Except not Legion Lieutenant. I guess Legion Lieutenant actually doesn't matter that much. It's just really annoying that it's exactly 6 land into a 2-drop that's a really good 2-drop. Goodness gracious. Oh, it's only lifelink on their turn. That's intriguing, okay. Alright, well, I can't find a real counterspell for this thing, can I? Guess... so Borrower into Quench Denial doesn't work at all. Yeah, I guess that just resolves. Not really going to be able to stop it here. I could have gone... No, I couldn't have gone Quench Denial Paragon because Denial doesn't work without Borrower in play. Borrower does get to kill Sorin, which is nice. And yeah, play this for sure over Cycling Triome. This actually kills Sorin, which is pretty good. I get to lay down some blocks and not die. Always nice. Maddie gains an awful lot of life, though. They can resurrect Knight of the Ebon Legion and also make a Nadanto token. There are draws that get me back into this. Gadwick could do it. Shark Typhoon could maybe somehow do it. More Blacklands Paragons all rattling off right in a row would be good. Sorin is a heck of a thing, though. And, I mean, Maddie played this out really well. Just, I've got these 2 counterspells in hand that have been pretty useless. I think I'm going to try some Syncopates in this list. Don't know if I'm going to play another match with it, but I will put in some Syncopates to try out, just because it's really nice having that counterspell on 2, also a counterspell on 7. So this Sorin, unfortunately, doesn't grant Death Touch. Maddie's thinking an awfully hard time. I feel like there's no way you don't give the Vanguard Indestructible. I think Maddie was forgetting about the lifelink that Sorin granted and trying not to die. But I mean, I'll take the dead Vanguard. That's fine. +2 only deals 1 damage, Kevlar Man. So I'm not sure what you mean by dead to +2 here. Are you thinking of the other Sorin? I think you might be thinking of the other Sorin. Oof. Alright, well, a lot of lands in a row is not great. I'm going to need to cycle this Triome. And hit something off of it. Spectral Sailor's a hit. And don't really have any specific... Oh, I definitely cast this because I could hit Gadwick. Yeah, I cast this because I could hit Gadwick. So we're doing this now. Blacklance Paragon's actually really good. All right. All right, we're still in this. We're still in this, somehow. Blue-Black Flash toughing it out. And thanks to Cutthroat being just freaking enormous, the Vanguards can't afford to survive forever. Okay, here comes some creatures. Can't stop most of Maddie's spells. Can still stop a Sorin, can still stop a champion, can still stop a different Sorin. But any kind of 2-mana removal spell probably kills me. So Paragon blocks Lieutenant. Cutthroat blocks Vanguard. That unfortunately still leaves me exactly dead. The question here is, do I block with Slitherwisp or Sailor on the 2/2? So Maddie's going to go to 15. Maddie's going to get a token, so I can't kill in the backswing of Cutthroat anyway. This is tough, this is tough, this is tough. Sailor's a better engine than Slitherwisp at this point. I don't think it's Vanguard with Sailor. I think I want to get rid of this token. I really think I can't let that thing stick around. I guess once Legion Lieutenant is gone, I get to block the tokens much better than before. Alright, let's try that maybe. I've got plenty of timeouts. Let's see, this puts me to... So I go to 6. No, I think I'm killing the token and not the Vanguard here. I really think I am. Like, I need to keep the vampire numbers down. Especially if I'm ever going to kill them on the backswing. The only direct damage they have is countered by Lofty Denial, I believe. Okay, we're still alive. Still alive. Heartless Act, okay, that's still a thing. Actually, that's lethal. That's lethal if Maddie doesn't have some other kind of instant speed thing. So, kill you? Full control just in case the timing stuff's really weird. GG? Yep, that should do it with the counters that are in hand, have been in hand the whole time. Okay, didn't need these at all. Good old blue-black flash. Vamos, vamos me. Love you too, Weed. Alright, that was harrowing. But we did get through it. Now to put some Syncopates in this thing. Syncopate's just better than Quench, I think. Syncopates, let's just assume Syncopate's better than Quench. Wait, this is the wrong flash deck. This is the standard one, we don't get Syncopate for you. I was also scared, Weed, I was also scared. I started to take the Aether Gust out because I'm like, gotta take Aether Gust out now, it's a vampire meta. No, you keep the Aether Gust in, but we are gonna cut the Quenches.
Wait, why?
I mean, I'm playing them in the main deck because they're so good against almost every deck in Historic. Okay. I guess I could throw them out. If Historic's just a bunch of random stuff, then maybe these are not actually all they're cracked up to be. What if we cut those, put them back in the sideboard, cut a Noxious Grasp, and maybe a Dispute. I probably don't need all 4 Dispute. There are not a lot of mono blue decks running around. Throw the 2 Gust back in, throw in some Syncopates. Maybe one more Mandic Eliminate? Another Gadwick too, honestly. I don't hate having Gadwick every game as a thing we could do. Considered Rewind as well. It seems a little slow for Historic. Could also just go to 4 Syncopate, 3 into Eliminate. Okay, and try Balls to the Wall, all the counter spells. And now we'll open a pack, and then I think we'll play some 5-color Niv-Yorion. I get it now, Kevlar Man. I was also confused. Alright, so we're going to play Wyatt Darby. I'll pop it up on screen before we start with it. This is Wyatt Darby's 5-color Yorion list, which I believe I've recreated card for card. I think Wyatt had a screenshot where like one of the lands wasn't visible or something, so there's like a random land in here that might not be the one he's playing. Otherwise, it's his list, 38 lands, so that your growth spirals and arrows always hit. Niv-Mizzet Reborn, describing a host of different interactive gold cards. And yeah, it's just a fun, plays out a little bit differently every time sort of deck, which I do like. Not a big like heavy control player, but this seems fun. I'm going to try a little bit of it, and then maybe we'll go back to some Temur Clover. Or even more Blue-Black Flash, because this deck's obviously pretty sweet. Aka David, are you talking about Revival in the Niv-Mizzet deck? Probably not. Revival only hits a couple of creatures, one of which is Uro, which just dies again immediately. And Revenge is not a very good spell. There are a lot of other gold spells that would be much more interesting to try than Revival. If you were talking about the blue-black deck, then also probably not. I think reanimating creatures is usually not going to be that strong. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking with this deck about hands and like whether the hands have like castable spells or not. So here we've got no ability to cast Teferi or Deafening Clarion. I do have Nicol Bolas as a potential turn 4 playing Niv-Mizzet Reborn, but I imagine that hands where you can't cast your spells have to go away. It's like doesn't seem keepable. Well, this hand can definitely cast spells. I think I keep it and throw back Raugrin Triome since I've got a bunch of other colors covered here. I'm definitely going to make a lot of mistakes with land sequencing as I figure out this deck. Playing your lands in the right order is incredibly important here. Yeah, Kevlar Man, is there a way I could have Googled that? That's what I was wondering. Is like, I was looking on Wyatt's Twitter to see if he had posted the list, and I just didn't see anything. And it looked like it just wasn't there. Alright, so we're up against what looks to be Soul Sisters. In the top 1,000, so not bad, not bad. I think I'm just going to get rid of Heliod here, since that's a pretty hard card for me to get rid of by other means. Raugrin Triome. I'm just going to put that in the graveyard. I feel like hitting... I guess it's the second blue for Uro coming out eventually. I'll keep it. I don't mind the 4th land to hit Nicol Bolas on time. Good point, Kevlar Man. Good point. Alright, and even if they have the lucky Pride Mate off the top, I can just Tyrant Scorn it, which is okay. And yeah, I don't understand how you ever play this deck in Uro the format, but I guess that's just our luck. Yeah, so I play this, I can still play out Niv-Mizzet because I got blue, black, and red if I happen to draw an untapped land next turn. Hey, After Office TTV! Good games, dude, good games. Glad to see you on the stream. Of course, they immediately draw another Heliod. Which isn't going to trigger anything. That's not going to trigger anything, except I do want to kill Daxos before this comes down so they're not gaining life and pumping up the Soul Warden with Heliod in play. Also, Daxos is more loyalty, so all in all, an easy choice.
We need to become Aaron
Second
Gladler
Nicol
tonight,
Bolas.
chat. That's
Not outstanding. Maybe I'll get to trade it at some point. Oh yeah, Soul Warden gains life on my creatures.
We need to
that
become
is one thing
Aaron
to watch
Gladler
out for.
tonight, chat. That's the goal.
We might also just get completely run over by the second Heliod. They unfortunately just drew that immediately after we got rid of the other one. Hey, Curse Scroll, NC, thanks for the follows. Yeah, I think we're going to get beat up here. Honestly, the second Heliod was just so brutal. What could we find that doesn't get us beat up? They're going to play
We
Radiant
need to become Aaron
They're going
Girdler
to pump
tonight,
the
chat.
Soul Warden.
That's
They
the
get to play
goal.
Soul Warden. Make Soul Warden a 4/4. When I play Nicol Bolas, they gain 2 life, which means that Soul Warden gets to be a 6/6. I guess like Teferi to bounce this thing would be fine. That would go some amount of the way. Lurrus, oof. Welp, that's not good.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the
That's
goal.
extraordinarily bad news. Oh, and now Heliod's just on because they had the Lurrus. They drew really well after that first Thought Erasure, which I guess is the problem with Thought Erasure. Okay, it's Niv-Mizzet Reborn. They can play Daxos out of their yard next turn, which gives them access to just kill us, though. So we just lose. We can't remove any of their stuff, and even if we block they chump their Heliod next turn, we just die the other stuff after they play Daxos out of the yard. And see, I don't know what Regisaur combo is. Or more to the point, Regisaur combo could be many different things. Alright, so I would like some Solar Blazes and some Oath of Kaias, please. I think I can get rid of... Honestly, most of my cards do pretty good work against them. D-Spark may not have any targets at all. That's a pretty easy one to cut. Does Knight of Autumn come in? It can gain some life. But the problem against this deck really isn't keeping my life total high so much as managing their board. This can kill Daxos if it's coming into playability, though, so that seems worthwhile enough. I probably just cut Nicol Bolas. This card's like slow and small. Let's cut Bolas. Do I cut a Tef? Do I cut like a Rodha just because it can't block for crap against them? Yeah, Rodha seems a little iffy. I'd almost rather just have Angrath the Flame Chained. I like this can actually kill Heliod. Although I guess if they actually have an active, like, living Heliod on their board, I'm in trouble. I guess Bolas at least can block and can attrition them a little bit. Let's try this. Damien VC, I think you should probably play both in almost any mono-black deck I can think of in Standard or Historic. Beyond that, if you, for some reason, only want to play one of them, it's going to depend on what you've got in the rest of the deck. Regisaur is going to be better in decks that are more all-out aggressive, where you don't mind discarding your cards because you're just trying to kill your opponent before the long game starts. If you're playing Mayhem Devil, that may indicate that you're actually more of a mono-black mid-range deck and actually want to be able to handle a long game. This is a bunch of lands in Uro, but a turn 4 Niv-Mizzet, potentially. I imagine I'm supposed to keep turn 4 Niv-Mizzet on the play almost every time. We'll see how this goes. Speaker of the Heavens. Well, that's scary. That's pretty scary. Really, really hope their turn 2 is Daxos. That would be very satisfying to kill. Ajani's Pridemate is much worse. Yeah, that's tough. Alright, Tef is a good one. Tef definitely gives me a sense of relief. I am just going to play out Uro this turn, because playing Niv-Mizzet on turn 4 still seems achievable. Risky Heap from me, the Minosaur? What makes you say that? I mean, maybe turn 4 Niv-Mizzet's not going to be fast enough most of the time, but I think that having all your colors plus a source of life gain early is about reasonable. Alright, Heliod at least doesn't add another creature to the board. And if I bounce the Pridemate with Tef, it's going to be a while before they can get Angels off the speaker. Ooh, Breeding Pool's nice. Breeding Pool's really nice, actually. So I could just cast Niv-Mizzet. I should probably just cast Niv-Mizzet, right? Like, they probably can't kill it very easily. If they have, like, Giant Killer or something like that, then I'm probably dead. But I didn't come and play this deck not to cast Niv-Mizzet. I will take all of those, thanks. And discarding the second Tef or the second Growth Spiral, I think. Alright, let's see if Niv dies. If Niv dies, they probably can't kill that and start making Angels with Speaker. So next turn, Tyrant Scorn plus Tef just cleans up the board. So yeah, we should be in pretty good shape here, I think. Anything that turns on Heliod also leaves Niv-Mizzet in play, probably. Face got real close up to the screen there. Let's not do that. All right, Radiant Fountain is kind of cool here. This is definitely a nice M21 pickup for the deck. Ranger of Eos, nice historic card. So if they're running Speaker for the Heavens, wouldn't be surprised if they had like exact like 1 or 2 copies of Serra Ascendant, the card that becomes a 6/6 flyer if they get to 30 life for 1 mana. But on the whole, alright, they did not get anything too scary. And no attacks. No attacks is excellent news. So now I get to go Tef, bounce the Pridemate, hold up Tyrant Scorn to kill something else. Ajani is 35 life. I'm pretty sure the Minosaur. Can somebody confirm for me whether Ajani, the Planeswalker, goes off at 35 life? Yeah, bounce Pridemate. Draw Fabled Passage. Okay, so if I Fabled Passage, I can actually Growth Spiral into Tyrant Scorn. That seems pretty good, so let's do that. Need to make sure I crack Fabled Passage before I Growth Spiral, so I don't draw the wrong basic land. Yeah, I figured it was 35. This is 27. All these things trigger at different amounts of life. I guess I could have just killed Speaker of the Heavens on my turn, but I don't see them having an instant speed way to save it. I definitely kill it before Selfless Savior hits the board, though. Soul Warden? Okie dokie. Yeah, I might also just kill this thing. Like, Speaker of the Heavens making 1 Angel isn't really even that much of a threat, because I've got another Tef in hand. And Soul Warden as a persistent source of life gain is pretty annoying. Okay, so I'm going to get an island off of this. And then cast Growth Spiral into Tyrant Scorn, targeting the Soul Warden, is the plan. And then they have no good attacks. No problem, the Minosaur. It's a pretty obscure magic fact. Okay, so they can attack with Speaker and then save it with Selfless Savior. Actually, that lets them make an Angel. But we can beat 1 Angel. We're up to 5 cards for Uro. Yeah, Serra Ascendant triggers at 30. Opponent sending a bunch of damage at Teferi is great, because that actually just makes it easier to put Uro into play, which is nice. And then, so next turn I should be able to Uro plus Tef, I think. I imagine the mana for that works out somehow. So they are at 27 for now, but after I Tef their Angel and hit them with Niv-Mizzet, they go back down to a reasonable life total again. Okay, so if I Tef, that leaves me with blue, blue, green, green for Uro. So that's what I'm doing. Bounceon Angel. Maelstrom Pulse. Alright, so I could just kill something with that, but getting out Uro seems a bit better. Getting out Uro seems a bit better. The Night of Autumns have been atrocious so far, having not found any targets to speak of. I think I'm still playing out tap lands. I really don't see myself wanting to cycle anything anytime soon. And put them down at 21 just to make it more awkward for them to actually use Speaker of the Heavens. They could give lifelink to the Pridemate and the Ranger, hit me with both, and then make an Angel, and they lose Pridemate. Pulse, I mean, Pulse can target Heliod, but it's not going to kill it because Heliod's indestructible. I'm glad that everybody in chat is just as much of a smart aleck as I am. Yeah, so this deck doesn't really have like a giant close the door play. There's not like a Hydroid Krasis or something that's like one card that takes over the game, but once I get Yorion out and blink like Niv-Mizzet and draw another like 4 or 5 cards off Niv-Mizzet, that should be enough to close out pretty much anything the opponent can do. Okay, Lurrus. Lurrus plus Selfless Savior is an annoying combo, to be sure. It actually does let my opponent make another Angel off Speaker, but then I can kill Lurrus and turn off that stuff. Then I'm attacking with an Uro every turn. Yep, Panther, this is Wyatt Darby. Honestly, I kind of want to sneak some Deputy Detention in here somewhere, especially with Yorion. Ooh, the no attack there was weird. Solar Blaze is interesting too. Yeah, I don't understand what the no attack was about. I guess I can... Huh. So I'm not getting rid of the Lurrus anytime soon at this point. I still kind of want to attack with both things and then Solar Blaze, which still kills like 3 creatures. I could also just like bounce Niv-Mizzet with Yorion this turn. Yeah, Kevlar Man, Pulse is easier to cast than Depi. I just am thinking like, por qué no los dos? There's some Kayas in the side that I'm not really sure have an obvious place in many matchups. Anyways, the question is, do I attack with Uro or just hold it back as a blocker? I think I'm just using Yorion here. I guess Uro could maybe tempt them to sack Selfless Savior. I'm going to try attack with Uro here. Swing from the Niv-Mizzet as well, since there's a good chance I just blink it this turn. Another untapped land's not bad. Yeah, I can also pulse at instant speed here. So I'm going to line up Ranger of Eos here, see if they're going to sack Savior to save it. Maybe, I really doubt it. But they might. Alright, Uro goes down, but it'll come back soon enough. We've now got access to 11 mana. So my options are basically bring out Yorion. I think I just bounce Niv-Mizzet here, honestly. And then just hold up a Maelstrom Pulse at instant speed. Which this mana allows me to do, yeah. I guess I could try to hold up Clarion at instant speed too. I don't want to really tap out of red. I don't think. This is going to be, I definitely don't know what color all these things are without thinking about it a little bit. That leaves up everything. That leaves up Maelstrom Pulse. That leaves up Deafening Clarion. Yeah, that seems fine. Then we'll do this. I have Clarion on my deck, Spinach, and I'm about to get a Nicol Bolas, a Niv-Mizzet into play, which is going to look at the... I have 4 Clarions in my next 56 cards, so the odds are pretty good of me actually hitting one. Yeah, normally I wouldn't think too much about, like, what if I hit this exact card, but when I'm about to look at 10 cards, it becomes a lot more worthwhile to think about it that way. Okay, lots of options. I would like Tyrant Scorn. I would like... I think another Uro over the Growth Spiral, and then I'll take Oath of Kai, Maelstrom Pulse, Deafening Clarion. Works for me. I'm actually pretty incentivized to cast a sorcery now rather than... Oh, I already skipped my cleanup step. That's too bad. So I'll discard Night of Autumn. I will discard probably... Oh man, this is tough. So many Wraths. I could just discard both Knight of Autumn, because honestly, screw Knight of Autumn. Knight of Autumn doesn't do anything. Maybe just both Knight of Autumn and Thought Erasure. And just have 7 removal spells. Actually, I'll discard Uro. Yeah, we'll discard Uro, Knight of Autumn, Thought Erasure. Deafening Clarion giving me lifelink on my opponent's turn is also pretty nasty. Okay, so Soul Warden's down, out of the graveyard, but Deafening Clarion is going to brutalize the opponent here. Kill a couple things. Turn off Heliod. Does it turn off Heliod? I guess it... Yeah, it does. It will turn off Heliod. Well, they're going to save their Lurrus with Self of Savior, boo. You got to know the cards.
Cover.
It's an M21. Alright, so I have not disconnected from Arena in many weeks, so I think our opponent's just pondering life. This is definitely what I live for. I like playing decks that just give me that... Excuse me? Alright, you know what? Okay. Yeah, sure. Lyra Dawnbringer. I'm gonna let Heliod trigger before I do Deafening Clarion here, I think. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pump Speaker of the Heavens to try and get out of Clarion range. This is not... This doesn't seem... This is really expensive, guys. Don't play this one. Alright, Heliod is targeting itself. That also makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I could have Deafening Clarion to wipe out the Soul Warden to stop them getting those 2 counters in response. I kind of still like making them figure out what they're attacking and where before I decide whether I'm playing... like, what I'm playing here. Yeah, Kellerman, that could have been the thing. I'm still not sure I'm actually Clarioning this turn versus just firing off a targeted removal spell and then going for Clarion and, like, lifelinking on the attack or something. Alright, the opponent decides to do nothing, so I think I just go for a Pulse here and don't bother Clarioning. Gonna Pulse Lyra, I guess. This actually stops me from attacking. Our opponent literally dies if Lyra dies, because I just hit them for 10 in the air, and then I play Oath of Kaya, bounce Oath of Kaya, play Oath of Kaya. And in fact, I do that anyway if they use Self of Savior here, so they're just dead. Panther, no, you should play Baneslayer Angel. Okay, this should be finisher, a finishing move. I guess there is that. Yeah, that's a point. I feel like if you're at the making angels stage of the game with Speaker of the Heavens, you should be winning anyway, but protection from demons and dragons also doesn't do anything, so whatever. I don't know, Tammy, I don't know. Alright, nothing like just beating the white aggro deck to death with your big flying value engines. Okay, so I guess we saw a target for D-Spark, but I don't really care about that one too much. Nicol Bolas still seems pretty bad. Knight of Autumn, I mean, they're definitely still playing what's his face, the 2-mana enchantment thing. So I don't really know. Nicol Bolas flipping is not that good. Like, it's not a thing I see realistically happening too often. I think I'm still down for Knight of Autumn. If the opponent actually brings in some removal for 6/6 flyers, that could be a problem. Although that also makes all their draws less explosive on average. Certainly sideboarding against the 5-color monstrosity has to be a challenge. Alright, while we wait for the game to begin, and as generally I suspect the third game might be a little bit slow, question for the audience. This is just random questions here. I might just start asking random poll questions from time to time. Oh, I guess I'll answer Aeneas' question first, which is, I like Blue-Black Flash. I just like the playstyle of it. I don't know if it's great, but I think it has some tools that enable it to maybe keep up with most of the big decks in the format. So there's Blue-Black Flash, there's, so far I haven't lost a game with Temur Clover. So that's the thing. Ooh, this hand is... The Mountain is just so bad. Boy, Mountain just the worst land in the deck. I can use Fabled Passage to get a Swamp to let me cast Tyrant Scorn, or a Plains to let me cast Deafening Clarion, or an Island to let me cast Growth Spiral, but I only get to do one of those? Niv-Mizzet's like a while away from happening. But if I do draw like another Triome, the hand is really good, like an Endatha Triome, and suddenly everything is just turned on. This one's close, and Deafening Clarion just guaranteed on turn 3 makes me feel really more comfortable than I would be without it. I'm going to try this keep as an experiment. This might go horribly. Anyway, so Temur Clover, Blue-Black Flash, Second Tyrant Scorn. I'm still playing Triome here. Oh, did he Spinach? Yeah, Fabled Passage seems... I really just want more dual lands in this list. I should check out... I should update this deck afterwards with the new Wyatt list. Alright, Serra Ascendant's fine. That's not going to be out of Deafening Clarion range for a... Wow, alright. Opponent kept Mono Serra Ascendant hand, and unless their 3-drop is Heliod, I feel like we're in good shape. Love Drowned Catacomb as well. They do have Heliod. They get to put a couple... Actually, Heliod still doesn't work. I still just Clarion on their whole board, so... This looks good. They go to 24. They shouldn't be able to get to 30 this turn. Unless they're running like Dawn of Hope or something. Sorceress Spyglass. That can name Fabled Passage, so we gotta crack it now. Yeah, believe it or not, Tammy. It can friggin' name Fabled Passage. Yeah, I don't like Fabled Passage that much. It just always feels so bad when it's a tap land, so... Really happy to get rid of those, and also just like know exactly what Wyatt's playing instead of guessing off a screenshot. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing right now, so I'm not going to be able to change my deck until after that.
Oh, right, it's still the same.
Still the same match. Alright, so now everything just dies. Always click both, just so you don't forget. And with double Tyrant Scorn and a Teferi Hero of Dominaria, that should put us in a good spot. Even though Plains and Mountain are really holding us back here. Second Catacomb is really good. That means I just get to cast Tef on time. And Niv-Mizzet next turn if I want to. Name Teferi, which makes sense. We already sacked our Fabled Passage, and there's that is Time Raveler, not the other one. I guess I'll score in the Soul Word to keep them off of having 27 life. And because I could draw Knight of Autumn, it doesn't really matter at this point. This game is over. Alright, so is it Teferi Hero of Dominaria or Niv-Mizzet Reborn? I guess it's just Tef plus and hold up Tyrant Scorn. There's neither play could really ever lose me the game, but let's do this. There's Knight of Autumn, instantly rewarded. Instantly rewarded. Okay, yeah, this one is looking pretty done. Guess I'll fetch green. Alright, they did bring in Giant Killer. Unfortunately, it's a little bit small ball. All 3 Thought Erasures, huh? Well, I guess I had 4 in the deck at this point, so 3 of the 4. And draw with Tef. Might as well play something now, because otherwise I'm just discarding hand size. Yeah, I mean, the deck is literally all lands and Niv-Hits now that I've boarded out the Nicol Boluses, so it's just going to hit every spell in the deck. Yeah, I love Niv-Mizzet. That was the card I thought was really underrated before War of the Spark. Because I knew that Teferi was going to be busted, I knew that Nissa was going to be busted, but I thought people were sleeping on Niv-Mizzet, and it turns out they weren't. Niv-Mizzet was not very good, but I'm glad that it finally saw a little bit of appreciation. Boy, it's been so long since I've seen the Angrath, like, Flame Hammer animation. Love that animation. I cast Tyrant Scorn. I guess I could have End Step if I untapped the lands. I could have cast Growth Spiral, but then I wouldn't have had a Tyrant Scorn. Those are all possible plays, Kevlar Man, but none of them actually matter at this point. Alright. Yeah. If 5-color Niv is playable in whatever Pioneer becomes by the time Pioneer's on Arena, you'll probably catch me doing some 5-color Niv in Arena Pioneer. Alright, so we're going to take a quick break, find the latest Wyatt Darby list, and see about updating the lands in this deck a little bit. So bear with me for a second. Looks like the spells are all the same, but the lands are looking much better now. Okay, great, great, great. Thank you, Wyatt. I have not a lot of patience for trying to put together optimal mana bases. That's one of my weaknesses as a player, and I'm really glad that I don't have to in this case. I do find it amusing there's one basic island list, but, you know, that's respect to basic lands. Basic lands have done a lot for us, so I see it, I see it. There's a Hallowed Fountain, there's a Blood Crypt. There's a Temple Garden now. And there's another Woodland Cemetery. A Steam Vents. We're just taking a journey through Ravnica here. Journey through Ravnica and Dominaria. 4th Ketria Triome, 4th Endotha Triome. Is that it? Got all the Fabled Passages. And add 1 Sacred Foundry. Beautiful. Alright, another match with this. And then we might do some Temur Clover. Weed Magic, if you link me to it, I promise I'll give you my opinion, but just send me a link on Twitch, or just post it in the chat actually so other people can look at it too. Hearing Chandra 6 makes me really suspicious. Was this person just qualified for day 2? Is that what they achieved here? They went 6-1-1. Alright, so it's Temur Clover with all the usual cards. They're only running 3 Beanstalk Giant and 1 Uro. That seems really wrong. Uro is really hard to actually put onto the battlefield, especially because they still aren't running any Fable Passage in their list. And Beanstalk Clover is just the best thing that I can do by far. Nothing comes close. You should run all 4 Beanstalks. This is my pretty strong opinion here. To Escape the Wilds, I could see it. They run as expensive spells instead of Escape the Wilds. They have Commence the Endgame, which I still think Escape is better, but I could see Commence. I guess. Shark Typhoon, I don't really understand. It's something that's nice to do with a lot of mana, but once you have 15 mana and you can choose whatever spell you want to have, I'd much rather have Escape the Wilds than Shark Typhoon. The mana base seems fine. Honestly, this just looks like the fundamental strengths of Temur Clover probably were sufficient for them to do well here. I really think Chandra Awakened Inferno is not very good. Alright, this is Bant Nexus, so what am I taking away from them? Just Growth Spiral. Pretty easy to say you don't get to do anything on 2 mana here. Teferi Time Raveler is very good against this deck. We have a Maelstrom Pulse for Tamio, so it's all looking pretty good. I guess I should actually be using Tef to draw a card almost immediately since they have no actual damage effects and they do have Brazen Bar. But I guess I'll just draw the card next turn. Okay, they found their own Tef, which is fine. That doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, so I'll just draw here. They don't have Nissa. I don't really expect to be bouncing anything to gain value. Tef can't bounce Planeswalkers. Boo.
Oh.
Be even more broken if it could, but it can't.
I've never played a
Tammy has never played a Planeswalker before. Never?
Oh, I played Vraska.
No, she played Vraska and Golgari Night Swans, but she doesn't really know how Planeswalkers work. This Temur Clover is most of her experience. You never played Chandra in your sideboard ever? Never. I guess you were...
I came into Temur after you told me Chandra wasn't working.
After the Chandra era. Wow. Wow.
You chased blue-white out of the format, and then genre became moot.
Yeah, I just don't know about Chandra at all. It's like too slow for Temurek, and like Uro kind of invalidates Chandra as a card pretty hard, just because it gains so much life. I mean, obviously Chandra is capable of killing Uro, which is something, but just takes the long game is not really Temur Clover's concern. Temur Clover beats every single deck if it gets to just play a long enough game. And Chandra is very much a long game kind of walker. Alright, well, Nicol Bolas is nice, at least pressures their Tef. They can plus Tamio and be able to get out Uro after doing that, but I can Tyrant Scorn Uro, so that's fine. Game 1, this deck against Nexus is going to be pretty heavily unfavored. Just in general, we don't interact very well with what they're doing. Okay, I guess I have removal for this too. This does mean I'm going to have a hard time clearing up Tamio. Yeah, Chandra 5 could be a card for the deck. I think that seems a lot more plausible than some other stuff. Drat. So, wow, I hate leaving Teferi Hero of Dominaria alive, but I think my plan is that they just don't have any more removal and I get to kill it with Nick. I guess they could bounce Nick with Teferi, but then I get to play it again. Yeah, I could also Pulse and put Yorion in my hand, but I really want Pulse for Tamio. And all these discard effects do add up. Kind of. Hitting Shatter, Spiral here. Yeah, Calvin, man, if you try that, let me know how it goes. I'm curious. about that option. So if the opponent gets to Nexus of Fate, we're in a lot of trouble here, but they would need a 7th land to do it because we do have the Tef. Okay. Ooh, is the opponent going to try to Nexus me? They didn't play Tamia, which makes me think they're going to try to Nexus and they're going to realize I have a Tef in play. Oh dear. Well, yeah, no, okay. The opponent had a Nexus of Fate in their hand, they really wanted a Nexus end of turn, then they realized they weren't going to get to, and I was going to kill her Teferi, and they scooped. That's all well and good. The opponent was trying to play a 7-mana spell that would have given them an extra turn at the end of their turn, but they stopped in their end step to do that, and I had a copy of Teferi Time Raveler in place. They couldn't play it.
Oh, is next?
It's an instant. Alright, so sideboard-wise, we get a lot of stuff for this deck. We cut all the Tyrant Scorns, because Tyrant Scorns are stupid. We cut all the Deafening Clarions, because, again, stupid. We bring in all the Dovin's Vetoes. So I made some slight changes to the board, and then I put an extra Veto and an extra Knight of Ottoman over the 2 Kaya Orzhov Usurper. This is a lot of... We're looking at a lot of 5-drops here between Tef, Angrath, and Niv-Mizzet. Oath of Kaya does a reasonable job at poking at their planeswalkers, but not like a great job. Huh. I'm not actually sure about Angrath versus Teferi here. Teferi can bounce Wilderness Reclamation, which seems great. Teferi does also get Mystical Disputed, which Angrath doesn't. Angrath can steal sharks and throw them at my opponent's planeswalkers, and then the sharks die, which is cool. Radha seems kind of reasonable because she actually pressures planeswalkers pretty well, and I'm guessing they'll board out their shatters. Tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Huh. I guess Teferi is worse against other Teferi decks because you don't really get the untapping your mana benefit so much. Let's try this. I just really want my curve to be low. It's possible Teferi's like better than Nicobola than Niv-Mizzet because it does something on the board immediately. Alright, double Indoth Triumph, which lets me play D-Spark and theoretically Knight of Autumn at some point, but nothing else. I think I just mull this. This looks better. I can actually play some spells, keep it, and dump. I think I dumped Tef over Niv-Mizzet here. Obviously getting a second to actually... I'll just dump Niv-Mizzet. I think they're probably going to counter the first Tef. So having a second one seems good. And we are a ways away from casting Niv-Mizzet anyway. Start with Ralgren Triomes because that actually... So the question is whether I want access to Dovin's Veto or Growth Spiral more. That sort of depends on whether I'm playing Ralgren Triomes or Ketria out. Decided I was more interested in Dovin's Veto. I drew a 5-drop, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, no Tef for the opponent, but no anything for me. I'll pass. I really want to veto a Reclamation here if I can. I have Growth Spiraling if I can't do that. Being stuck on 2 lands may make the opponent think I'm not actually holding up anything. My guess is they've got like Chemister's Insight or something, but I can't afford to just sit here and not do anything. Oof. Yeah, that's pretty bad. We still have 2 vetoes, so it's still not exactly over, but I don't like where we are here. This deck does play 38 lands, which is a good number of lands. A number of lands I'm perfectly satisfied with. Nope. No, 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 no. Alright, there we go. So I can't play Unmoored Ego, otherwise I would. It's gotta be worth getting Teferi down, I think, and then destroying immediately. Really want to be hitting my land drops, and Tef can help with that. Still need black mana. Alright, I assume sharks are coming. Unfortunately, without black mana, I can't Maelstrom Pulse sharks. I could play Tef and just cycle it. And honestly, I think that's what I do. I think it's just, I need to draw lands? I guess I could hope they don't have a shark and just hold Odin's Veto, but I think if I don't hit black mana, I'm going to lose this game pretty quickly in the long run. Or pretty quickly, and there won't be a long run. Yeah, no surprise they have a shark. Hit a 4th land, it still doesn't produce black mana. Yeah. This might not be like a long-term deck for me to play, just because I feel like it's going to drive me absolutely through the wall not to have access to colors reliably. No matter how good the mana base is. Wilderness Reclamation's a problem. I can't even despark it. I can veto something and that's it. That's so depressing. I can't even play Rodha here because I think I need to hold up veto. Because we're going to get to Castle Vantris. Alright, now here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play Rodha. I'm going to hit an untapped land that lets me cast veto. And then I'm going to move on with my life. Or they're going to show me an Aether Gust, and then we'll at least know they play Aether Gust. So close, and yet so far. I'll pay 2 just to, I don't know, bluff my opponent or something. But don't expect to win this one after the opponent starts to, okay, I was going to say after they start to Castle Vantris. But happy they're burning all their mana this way. Alright, Tamiyo probably spells death for me. Yeah, I know I'm drawing next turn. It's Unedited Triumph, which means I can't kill Tamiyo, so I'm going to scoop here. Again, you only play 1 veto. Wasn't really going to work for the next few turns there. Alright, so the problem there was obviously not drawing lands. If we draw lands, I think we were probably okay against them much of the time. Obviously, there was some chance they just whiffed on Tamiyo really hard for a while there, but I am not the kind of streamer that's going to make y'all sit through me waiting to see if Nexus fails to hit. Okay, let's got all my colors. Start with Temple Garden here because it gives me access to Dovin's Veto if I draw it. D-Spark's a good one. This deck does play Search for his counter, right? I'm not just making that up. I do like that Nicol Bolas blocks Sharks. That's a pretty big game. How tall am I, Tony? 6 feet on Tinder. Plus the tough, because if they have a Wilderness Reclamation, I'd just as happily bounce it, so I don't have to despark it. Tamiyo, Collector of Tales. Alright, well, we'll despark that before we do any fancy Nicol Bolas stuff. Tammy doesn't recognize Little Dicky lyrics. Or does she?
I introduced you to.
You sure did. Yeah, so I could jam Bolas just because it attacks Tamiyo to death and leaves me... Yeah, I'm actually going to jam Bolas here. Black, red, blue, good. They could just jam a Tef of their own and bounce it back to my hand or whatever, but... if they don't have, like, land and Teferi of some kind, Bolas does pretty good work here. Hope you're having a good one too, Tony. Shark Typhoon. Alright, that is the Shark Typhoon of... Ooh, and mills 4 lands. I was really hoping they were going to miss a land off a Growth Spiral after doing that. Okay, but we are going to kill Tamiyo, which is great. Uro gets to come out after do that, of course, but that's fine, that's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. That's a lot of lands. So we gotta choose between putting Yorion in our hand and cycling a Triome. I think I cycle a Triome here. Probably, we've got triple blue already. I'll cycle Zagoth Triome. Want to leave up the ability to play D-Spark. So I'm going to do this. D-Spark and Dovin's Veto. Alright, Wyatt. Do we really need to play 4 of this card, Wyatt? Do we really need to? I don't... Wow, they're not even going for Uro. They just want to kill Tef. That is aggressive. Aggressive. Okay. Still want to plus up Tef because I'm perfectly happy with my opponent spending 4 mana to, and sacking a land to kill it. I mean, what I could do is just cast another Nicol Bolas. But that doesn't seem right. I think this is the turn I put Yorion in my hand. Rather than cycling. Still hold up D-Spark and Dovin's Veto that my opponent thinks I might have. Yeah, I could see Nicol as like a 2 of. It does not seem like an exceptional card to have more than that many copies of. Okay, so if the opponent goes for Uro, Nicol Bolas can get a Planeswalker back for me, yeah? Gets a Planeswalker back from any graveyard into the battlefield, so that's good. Blast Zone does not cast Uro, so my opponent's just passing, that's cool. I'm now really curious about if they have some way to get rid of Nicol Bolas, and they could just have like Ether Gust or something, so we're not flipping Bolas this turn. Yeah, I'm gonna jam. Yeah, I'm playing in the next Mythic Invitational, thanks to the DreamHack win, so I am trying pretty hard to make sure I have some experience with the format. Obviously, it's going to change a lot before then. So they could obviously have Mystical Dispute, but that's whatever if they do. Yeah, Iowa Geek. I know all about 80 card decks, and I still think I probably only want about 2 Nicol Bolas. I don't know, Crimson. I think having a thing that costs 4 mana seems pretty reasonable. And I feel like you probably have a lot of options for things that do that are not Nicol Bolas. But I'm not sure exactly what it is. I have to look at all the gold cards that exist in Historic right now. Alright, so the question is, do I D-Spark the Uro? That leaves me with absolutely no interaction, but I do have the ability to try flipping Nicol Bolas to get Tef out, which shuts off most of the things my opponent can do. Full set of Blast Zones for the opponent? It's quite possible. I do not know what can't means. Yeah, let's go after the Uro here. Oh, can't. Yeah, that's right. You can't D-Spark an Uro. That is a good point that I forgot about. Okay. Yeah, now what? Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. The opponent's just gotten a ton of resources because I have these useless Nicol Bolases sitting in my hand instead of like cards that actually interact with them in some fashion. I could cycle Triomes, see if I hit something to take care of her. That could be Tef or Maelstrom Pulse. Or Angrath, even. I could also play another Nicol Bolas, make them discard a card. And hold up D-Spark, and that way Nicol Bolas can flip and get back on Nicol Bolas, but that's not that useful. Alright, here's the plan. I'm going to attack them. I think this is the most reasonable way to try and win the game. If they have an Ether Gust, this doesn't work. I actually attack him with Yorion. I don't want to attack with Nicol Bolas because Nicol Bolas could just get eaten by a shark. So my plan is to flip, get back to Fairy, bounce Uro. This loses to a lot of different things, but plausibly beats some things. Okay. It is fun that I could take their Tamiyo, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get back Tef because it stops them from beating me with Nexus looping next turn. Also forces them to do Chemist's Insight if they want to now. Thanks, Benetti. Yeah, I don't think Hostage Taker is good enough. I tried Hostage Taker in Esper Yorion, and it was rarely very good. Unward Ego. All right, so if we untap and we live to see another turn, this could work out really well for us. And the opponent does need to take out Teferi and then also have like Nexus of Fate here. It looks like they don't, so we should have a good shot. They could have a counter for Unward Ego, of course. Oh, I guess they could just play Wilderness Reclamation, Nexus of Fate. I forgot about the card Wilderness Reclamation existing. Yeah, this Bolas was a cool design. Definitely a nice card. So, oh, we took another turn. I was not expecting that. Okay, so... yeah, that happened. Nice. Okay, now what? Part of me wants to start with Ego first. I would like to know about... What do I Ego? I mean, the obvious answer is Nexus. The question is, if I have Tef out and I can keep a Tef out, Nexus is actually not a threat. So there's a huge part of me... Yeah, they don't necessarily scoop to Nexus because Shark Typhoon is still very dangerous. They've got a lot of lands over there and a Wilderness Reclamation. And we don't have like a million ways to deal with sharks of infinite size. I think it's still got to be Nexus, though. I imagine we have enough ways to answer sharks and stuff. So we'll start with Tef, see what happens if we start with Tef. Yeah, they can main phase Nexus now. There's a veto, alright. So then I think I'm going with D-Spark, holding up Ego. Yeah, go with D-Spark the Reclamation. See if this one eats a counterspell. Yeah, it's definitely got to be Nexus. I'm fantasizing about like what if it didn't have to be, but I think it has to be. Alright, well, hopefully that's all the counter magic they had. Let's go for Ego. Alright, Shark Typhoon, Growth Spiral, Castle Vantress. They've got 1 Teferi, 1 Shark Typhoon. Oh, three more Shark Typhoons, and I think... And it looks like only 1 Teferi. Alright, so if we can beat a bunch of sharks, we can do this thing. And take all their cards? Yep, boo. That's Unward Ego.
Wait, so what?
That's what the card
It's
does.
3 mana.
Mm-hmm.
What?
They obviously get to bring back Uro this next turn, which is not pleasant, but I can shoot that with my Nicol Bolas. Yeah, drawing a Niv here probably gives me enough ammunition to seal the deal. But no guarantees. These sharks are going to be extraordinarily large. Although we have a lot of stupid Niv tricks, Nicol Bolas tricks we can do here, huh? So if they make a shark, it can just bring back Teferi again. And actually, after I had to play Nicol Bolas, oh, I can't quite play and flip Nicol Bolas in the same turn. Yeah, this is challenging. There are a lot of ways for me to screw up the next few turns, so I might be a little bit quieter as I think to myself. Okay, opponent's being conservative with sharks. What I really want now is Maelstrom Pulse, so I could just bring back Tef and hold up a Sorcery Spell and Maelstrom Pulse to eat all the sharks. That would be very satisfying. I guess I can double block this shark, which is cool. I think I'm supposed to just kill Uro? Let's start with Growth Spiral, see what that finds for me here. More lands, okay. So I'm now at 9 mana. So I can play Radha, play Nicol Bolas, could plus this. Could just put Teferi. I could put, let's see, I could put Tamio onto the battlefield and then use Tamio to get back, like, Unmoored Ego named Shark Typhoon? That'd be cute.
We need to
If they have
become
another
Aaron
shark, though,
Gertler
can I
tonight,
beat the
chat.
other
That's
shark?
the goal.
That is an interesting idea. Huh. They have another Shark Typhoon. The Shark's going to be a 7/7? Let's start with Bolas, see what they discard. An Uro of my own would also be nice, frankly. Dispute that. Okay. Have I played a land yet this turn? I guess I have. Alright, I'll pay for the dispute, though. I like the idea of being able to double block a shark. Another dispute. That's fine. Alright, great. Opponent spent 2 cards on that. And I am just gonna... Alright, I have no timeouts left. I have not played the land, but I can't play Ego anymore. I could bring back Tamio and then despark the Wilderness Reclamation. I don't think that's the thing, though. Let me just go ahead and kill... No, I'm going to bring back Tough. That's what I'm going to do here. Oh, I gotta bring back Bolas also. Let's bring back Bolas. Opponent's got 2 cards left? Oh, they just gave up. Alright, I mean, I'll take it. I don't think that game was anywhere near over, but I didn't know it was in their hand. If they didn't have another Shark Typhoon, I could see that. Biting Psychopomp, thanks for the follow. Whew. Yeah, we did. We did got him. Yeah, Zwekdog, I think there are good reasons that 5-mana Bolas, which is not really new anymore at this point, I guess, but the newest Bolas has not seen much play. That is true, Kevlar Man. Not a lot of my cards actually answered Shark Typhoon at the moment, but I think we were very likely to win. Seemed like a slightly early concession to me that I didn't know was in their hand. Okay, so that was that. Let's fire up some Clover. Yay, Clover! Alright, so for those of you who have not seen Temur Clover played in Historic yet, something only I would be crazy enough to do, probably. It's the same friggin' deck. We've got 2 Aether Gust here in the flex slot because Gruul is very good, and Temur Reclamation, and Bant Reclamation, sorry, is also very dangerous, so Gust is just here to hit those decks. You know, you could just make these growth spirals if you wanted to, but for now I'm sticking with Aether Gust. Sideboard-wise, Thud is just a better fling. It costs less mana, which means you can combo kill people a little bit easier from situations you maybe couldn't have before. I'm trying out Whirlwind Denial because it's an answer to Ulamog and Shark Typhoon, which makes it a little bit different than some of the other counters that we could wish for. This is very experimental, and it's probable that Disdainful Stroke is just better, but it's something I'm trying. And then we've got Expansion Explosion here. For, that's already in the deck, sorry. We got River's Rebuke here, which is here because it's kind of a unique effect that you can't get. You have Flood of Tears in Standard right now, but Flood of Tears bounces both players' permanents. River's Rebuke lets you bounce all your opponent's stuff and keep a board of your own, which seems pretty valuable, plausibly. Not sure if we'll keep this one in or not, but it seems like kind of a cool thing you can do when Storm's Wrath does not do enough. It's possible I could cut some stuff here, like Shadow Spear. It may be that we just don't want Shadow Spear anymore. That, like, you don't really need this effect against Gruul too much if you've got board control and the ability to wish for stuff. Like, the threats here are different than the threats in Standard, and so I want to respect that. I think Storm's Wrath is still great. I think Once and Future still grinds harder than any of the cards that you could replace it with from Historic. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were, like, better things to do than Domri's Ambush and Shadow Spear, for example. Also, Grafdigger's Cage may not be at all necessary because nobody's playing cat decks. So actually, let's do a quick search. This is something I haven't thought about as much. Let me see what cards exist in just Historic that I may not have thought of. Yeah, I love Shadow Spear too, Kelvar, man. Believe me, I'm not eager to give it up. So we're going to look at all the things that I can fetch with Fae of Wishes. And let's see, make sure the not collected stuff is on. This is going to be a quick search to see what it is that might exist for us. And we're just looking at cards in Historic because I think we have a pretty good grasp of what's in Standard. So, cards that are interesting, in brief. We've got Spell Pierce, which is interesting. It's like a 1-mana counterspell. It's pretty flexible you can wish for.
That's the goal.
However, it's also really weak, and you usually wish for counterspells mostly in the late game, when something like Spell Pierce is pretty dead. Weed Magic, no, I don't want to add a Shark Typhoon just to cycle, necessarily. I mean, If I'm wishing for Shark Typhoon, that means I could just be wishing for Escape the Wilds, which is almost always going to have a better effect on the board. And putting a random Shark Typhoon in my main deck, I'd have to cut something, which I think Ethergust is still more important. I think once Temur Clover gets up to the amount of mana where Shark Typhoon is useful, Temur Clover can usually find good stuff to do with its mana. Shark Typhoon's a great card, and maybe it's the right thing to play, but I don't see any compelling reason to play it. It doesn't really solve any problems that I have, as Jeff Hoagland would put it. There's Blink of an Eye, which seems just worse than Unsummon. You're usually not going to be blinking things that are not creatures because you'd rather be removing those things. Anything that costs 7 mana, like a Chroma's Memorial, has to really justify its place. Like, it has to turn around completely a game that you could not have won with any other card. A Chroma's Memorial is not going to do that sort of thing. It doesn't add any power or toughness to the board. It doesn't deal with anything that... It's way too small for what most decks are doing if they're kind of big late-game decks, so Chroma's Memorial is not going to be the thing. But something like River's Rebuke is a 6-mana card that might actually turn around a game you'd have no other way of winning. So River's Rebuke sort of maybe gets to earn its keep. We'll see. Search for Escanta makes no sense to wish for. Takes way too long to have an effect on the board. Secrets of the Golden City is like often going to be a 3-mana draw 3, which is interesting. That's not an effect we have access to in Standard. So let me actually just open up a notepad doc and sort of keep track of what looks interesting. So we've got a Spell Pierce, Secrets of the Golden City. Release to the Wind. What does this do again? Whoop. Don't want Water Knot in there. Thanks for that, Snow Monkey. That's a good question, Tammy. I don't think so. I think it's still sort of just like... I mean, I think that Once in Future usually gives you enough recursion. And the gaining life option still, Shadow Spear seems better for that. But, you know, if we do remove some cards we don't think need to be here anymore, something like Plain-Wide Celebration could see its way back in, just as being a 16th or 17th card in our order of what we wanted. Release to the Wind does not seem... I don't see any special reason to do that. Antiquities War, it finds Clovers. No, that's not it. Grasping Current. No, it's a Jace card. Spell Swindle. I love this card, but it's 5 mana. We can't wish for 5 mana counter spells. Switcheroo is pretty funny as far as like taking stuff goes. I could see Entrancing Melody maybe fitting in the sideboard, come to think of it. Or like in Bolus's Clutches. I'm not running Mass Manipulation right now, so maybe the Mass Manipulation is better than both of those things, but those are options. Yeah, Deacon Black, I actually had Blood Sun in the initial iteration of this deck, and then I thought a little bit more about the Field of the Dead matchup. I think Field of the Dead just doesn't beat Temur Clover in the late game. That may seem silly to say because it's Field of the Dead, but like we have Storm's Wrath to wish for, we can Once in Future back Storm's Wrath, and like it takes a lot of zombie tokens before the opponent can reliably beat 15/15 Beanstalk Giants, especially trampling Shadow Spear Beanstalk Giants. We also have River's Rebuke against Field of the Dead, so I think we have enough answers to it, but Blood Sun is definitely like a plausible option, which I'll write down. I'd like it more than Alpine Moon because I want to draw a card by the time in the game where I'm actually fetching that stuff. Nexus of Fate, that's a card that we... I love how it's grayed out even though it's perfectly legal in this format. Actually being able to fetch an extra turn spell is nice. We've already written down Entrancing Melody. I think Overflowing Insight seems like too much. I think this is just much better as Escape to the Wilds.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
5 mana draw 5, just much more practical to use than a 7 mana draw 7 that also requires triple blue. Reckless Rage is an interesting alternative to Red Cat Melee. Can't hit Planeswalkers, but doesn't make me sack lands when it hits non-red creatures. Does require me to have a creature I can damage. I do have a bunch of those in the deck, though. I think that second requirement's still a little too awkward. There's also Shivan Fire as another thing I could do. Ah, yeah, that would do it, Kevlar Man. Lightning Strike, no. I don't play Shadow Scorching Dragonfire right now, and Scorching Dragonfire is just better. Bunch of cards that already exist in other formats. Fight with Fire is cute. It sort of is nice as like a wishable removal spell that also can serve as a late game giant burn spell. Usually Fling some combination of Thud and Expansion is going to be more efficient than this for damage, but I could see occasional situations where you want to be wishing for it and then clearing the board with it. It's an interesting effect that we don't have in Standard, at least. There's Wizard's Lightning. I have no wizards, except for his Fae of Wish is a wizard. Fae of Wish is a wizard, but I think Wizard's Lightning is still too narrow. There's Hitsugu's second right. We do frequently have a lot of options for how much damage we deal to our opponents. In the sense we have a bunch of random 1/1s lying around and we can stomp their face, so Hitsugu's second right is an option. Sarkhan's Unsealing seems too expensive for its cost. I'd rather just be fetching Storm's Wrath. Too expensive for its effect. Haphazard Bombardment's cute, and then we can fetch it to kill a bunch of lands. That's another unique effect. Banefire's a unique effect because it's uncounterable. Almost none of these are actually all that plausible, but I'm just trying to look for, again, effects that are unique and interesting. Star of Extinction just seems much worse than Storm's Wrath. I don't want to pay an extra 3 mana and so I can get to destroy a land. Apex of Power is funny, sadly. All our cards are different colors, so we're not going to get to cast many of them, even adding a bunch of mana to the mana pool. Shaper Sanctuary is a great, genuine sideboard card, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to wish for. Since the stage of the game when your opponent's removal is best is usually the early game, where Shaper Sanctuary can't be fetched out yet. Gaia's Blessing would be cute if we were ever worried about milling out, but we're not. Not ever. And Tormod's Crypt is much better as graveyard removal. Nature Spiral is like sort of cute. It's like a little mini once in future that can get back like a Clover or something, but I think Find, given that almost all our permanents are creatures, I think Find Finality is usually going to be better than this in the board, and I don't play that. See, we're steadily dropping viewers as we do this, so we're almost through all the cards. Sylvan Awakening, that's we do get a lot of lands in play sometimes. It's really narrow, like I really try to avoid cards that only win the game when you're already at 15 lands or whatever, but Sylvan Awakening is a unique effect. Vivian Reed is like slightly interesting as like a big, sometimes you just really want to remove an artifact or enchantment and you do have some spare mana lying around. I think she makes more sense than a lot of other planeswalkers do in that slot because she actually provides like a constant source of gas. Like, I'd much rather be searching my library for the top 4 cards in my library for a creature every turn than making a 3/3 every turn with Nissa. Still probably not much of a thing. What else is there? Slice and Twain, that seems a little too expensive. Bunch of gold cards that are not some of my colors. Adonis Climb doesn't make any sense. A bunch of graveyard removal spells that are all worse than Tormod's Crypt. It's pretty hard to get better than Tormod's Crypt. Damping Sphere, there aren't really any decks that counters right now. Ratchet Bomb might be cute. Kills all the tokens on the battlefield, which is a thing against Field of the Dead, maybe. Pretty slow though, so unlikely to be a good fit. Yeah, Weed and Magic. I've already tried playing Nissa a bunch of times in Temur Clover and have always decided against it. Historic's obviously a different context than Standard, but I just don't think Nissa is a great fit for the deck. But she might be better than Vivian. Like, if you want to put a 5-mana walker on the board, you could definitely do worse than Nissa. It's hard to explain why I haven't liked her. I just have never felt like she was doing great work when she was in. Yeah, Compass is like a 1-mana gain 3. Oh, Compass as in Thaumatic Compass. This seems really slow. I guess it turns into a removal spell if we fetch it and we already have 7 lands. So yeah, Thaumatic Compass might work. It's actually not a bad removal spell. It kind of counters Embercleave really nicely. It also is a mana source. Transmogrifying Wand is like interesting. Gets rid of multiple big creatures over the course of a couple turns. Karn Sign of Urza is a nice card advantage planeswalker. This is also, like, might be better than Vivian. Probably not, though. This honestly is a reasonable card to think about for flex slots. It just comes down and... Huh, Arena just went black? Oh, I clicked something. Alright, anyway, we kind of made it to the end of the historic cards there. We found a bunch of plausible things, which I will post in the chat here, just to make a note of what all I found. But nothing that seems compellingly better than the stuff in the other slots. But we'll keep an eye on, like, if we have a certain problem and our sideboard can't solve it, we'll think, all right, could we have put something else, one of these cards in our sideboard to solve that problem? Because you always want to be thinking in terms of, like, what problems do I have that I can't solve with my current cards that I could solve with a different card, as opposed to just, like, this card seems generically powerful. And now we're actually on to gameplay, so stick around. Old man Aaron G. Oh no!
What?
This is my future self. I'm playing against my future self, and he's better ranked than me, which I guess is good. That seems promising.
Oh man!
Can't keep 2 Ether Gust and no
Wait.
blue sources.
What if it's your father? He did say he wanted a new hobby.
You shush. Alright, this hand is pretty great, except for I need to put one of the cards back, which I hate. So the question is, like, with a hand this dreamy, do I just put back a land and hope the rest of it works out and then I draw another land? I think I do. Given that I have Borrower and Clover anyway, the punishment for missing a 3rd land drop is not as high as it could have been. Alright, Llanowar Elves. So opponent's got that good fast start. Still, even if they are Gruul or something, we should be able to keep up with them via Clover, Beanstalk, Borrower. Yikes, it's a lot of Bell Collectors. There's the 3rd land, though, so now we're feeling pretty good. Especially with Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, Patrick, I could see putting back Borrower, but I feel like it's... I think there was too much risk of us getting completely run over if our opponent's playing an aggressive deck. And we might honestly get completely run over now because Llanowar Elves is one hell of a Magic card. Gonna get a 3rd green source because I might just go token, 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 Lovestruck next turn. Like, we are already at 9. Just need the opponent not to have some crazy follow-up. Alright, good, good, good. We get to survive. We're gonna bounce the Questing Beast and the Pelt Collector. Ideally, our opponent doesn't even have a 4th land and they don't get to replay Questing Beast right now. That would be really sweet. But we might still die. We could easily still die. Okay, no 4th land, no 4th land, no 4th land. Awesome. So we're gonna go double token. And we unfortunately, I would love to Fey Wishes and just get Storm's Wrath right now. But unfortunately, if they go 4th land Questing Beast, we can't, we could survive that, I guess. If they go 4th land Questing Beast, attack with everything, we block both Pelt Collectors, then we Storm's Wrath and we double token again, but that just kills me to another Questing Beast. I think just paying out a bunch of tokens and a bunch of Lovestruck Beasts will be fine. That should hold the ground long enough for me to resolve Escape the Wilds next turn. Alright, so very, very, very sharp start from our Gruul opponent. Looks like they are Gruul, in fact, not just mono green. No attack there. Bold choice. Okay, so I can Fey of Wishes for Unsummon. I could Innkeeper Lovestruck again. I could Escape the Wilds and hope to find some amount of interaction. I think this is just Innkeeper into another Lovestruck Beast. The thing that scares me is my opponent maybe have Embercleave, but they didn't have... They would need another red source to do Embercleave. And it's not like Escape the Wilds really gets me out of dying to Embercleave anyway. I guess Fey of Wishes technically gets me out of dying to Embercleave. I can go get Unsummon plus Storm's Wrath? Maybe that's the thing to do then. Alright, new decision. We're gonna go get Unsummon plus Storm's Wrath. So that keeps me from dying to Embercleave, which is the scariest thing our opponent could pull off here. Opponent can obviously kind of go balls to the wall at attacking us, given they know about the Storm's Wrath now, but they're pretty unlikely to be able to grow these Pelt Collectors out of Storm's Wrath range. Domri's Ambush. Pretty down to just unsummon a Pelt Collector, honestly. In response to this, because I don't have to Storm's Wrath. I got plenty of gas. So if they do this, the Pelt Collector's a 4/4 trample, I'm actually taking a good amount of damage off it, so let's just bounce it. Go away. If they attack, I can just trade with all their stuff, which I'm happy to do. Oh, wow. Alright. Yep, don't need to play Storm's Wrath right now. Pretty down to just, like, play another Lovestruck Beast instead. My monitor's pretty wide, but I don't know. I fiddle with the resolution every time somebody mentions it on stream, and usually that makes the problem go away. Okay, so I just get to go Innkeeper Lovestruck Fae, and that should lock things up, I think. Didn't need to play that land. But it's whatever. Yeah, I still wouldn't call that a comeback, Weed Magic. I mean, I was behind in the first, like, 3 turns of the game, but that's frequently going to happen with Clover against Aggro. I think I feel as though I was in control of the situation the whole time, kind of. So the only thing I really have to watch out for is dying to, like, 3 stomps or something stupid like that. And I'm going to start attacking with this token. Alright, bring to your emissary. That could turn out a couple stomps. Scavenging Ooze. Alright, that's not a stomp. Every card that's not a stomp is great news for me. Ooze can eat a bunch of creatures. It's basically of unlimited size. I think I'm just going to cast Escape to the Wilds here. Right. Also go token Lovestruck, hold up double stomp.
Is there any chance you want to?
I don't think there's any chance I want to Wrath here. Leaves. Well, I could actually Wrath and then, I could Wrath, make some tokens, attack with Lovestruck Beast, hold up double stomp for a Questing Beast or something. That does give me a good looking clock.
You can't hold up double stomp.
I can also just cast Beanstalk Giant this turn, huh? Beanstalk Giant leaves me somewhat vulnerable to Embercleave, and that they could pump up the Ooze a couple times, play a red source, pump up the Ooze even more, and then hit me with it. But, alright, let's actually go for Beanstalk Giant here. I kind of like that idea. This means Scavenging Ooze sort of can live through Storm's Wrath now, though. Hard to say. I think Beanstalk Giant should mean I'm pretty safe. In particular, because now every Fae of Wishes I draw means I just get Shadow Spear. I'll hold off on attacking here. Having all 3 of these back makes me pretty safe from Embercleave. Okay, another Burning Tree Emissary. Every card that's not Stomp is music to my ears. Okay, so I no longer kill Scavenging Ooze with Storm's Wrath, but I do kill it with Storm's Wrath into Stomping. So yeah, let's just do that now, actually. I'm into it, except I can't... Let's see, I'm holding up red mana plus green mana. Yeah, seems fine. I do not know who this is. Would my dad play Gruul, though? That's the question.
Yes.
Tammy seems to know my dad pretty well, I guess. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to hold the Stomp back. If they want to block Lovestruck with Ooze, I think that's fine. And I'll continue to hold up Bone Crusher Giant in case they have a Questing Beast. Who's Annie? Is that what you think Tammy's name is?
Sorry. Just kidding. Your dad's probably more of a blue-white control.
Awkwardly, they do get to trade off Scavenging Ooze with Lovestruck Beast. I don't know. I like clearing out other creatures because it makes Embercleave a non-entity. I could just play another Lovestruck Beast. I guess if they make Scavenging Ooze like a 7/7 and put a Cleave on it, that would be sad. So I'm just going to hold up the ability to kill the Scavenging Ooze if they eat something. They didn't eat anything. Ooh, okay. Huh. So that does give them the ability to put Cleave on this. They have a red mana. Oh wow, Cleave on Scavenging Ooze would actually kill me. Goodness. I'm glad they didn't have that, because I would have felt like an idiot. Yeah, I'm definitely playing a little fast and loose here, as distracted as I am by the playing against my dad. You know how it is. Still, they're at 9, and that's 2 more Clovers to go with Bone Crusher Giant. That should do the trick. That should do the trick. I don't know, Patrick. I don't know. Yeah, I would have had to throw both Stomps out of the Thrag Tusk, which might have been worth it, but it would have meant that they could have hit me with a Questing Beast the next turn, and I wanted to hold up for Questing Beast. It seemed more likely to me that they would have Questing Beast than, like, Red Source untapped plus an Embercleave in hand. Although given the way this game played out, them having an Embercleave seemed pretty likely at the end there, so I don't think that was the highest percentage play I made. Alright, we already have sort of a sideboard plan against Rule, because I run into it enough times. Cut some escapes, add a Storm's Wrath, add a Red Cat melee, just a little bit more removal. Keep it unsummoned to wish for, otherwise most of the wishful things go into the deck, and we just run it like that. So, we were on the draw, but we did have the God draw. It's much harder if we don't have Clover Beanstalk plus interaction. Yeah, I expect them to have some way to kill artifacts, but... oof. No, this doesn't work. This is much better. And the question is, do I just dump Escape? Or do I do the thing where I dump a land again and just hope that I draw some lands? I think this is dumping Escape here. I feel like card advantage is rarely the way I'm going to die in this matchup, but not sure. Alright, and run out Innkeeper. I think I do. If my opponent decides to stomp Innkeeper, I'm like pretty happy with them doing that instead of running out an actual creature. Rule Spellbreaker is absolutely fine. Yeah, Llanowar Elves certainly makes things difficult on the draw. We drew 2 more lands, of course, so now I feel really bad about putting back that Escape. Might as well swing with Innkeeper because I'm not blocking with it. Okay, Pellet Collector is not too scary. So, looks like Lovestruck might handle the board. Alright, we got murdered with a Lava Coil. That's fine, though. Another Lovestruck. Okay, new plan. All the tokens. Which means I can at least trade off with Spellbreaker. You know, if they have Questing Beast next turn. Really regretting putting Escape back, but pretty much all the cards in my deck are great draws now. Throw a double block on Pelt Collector because, oh, nope, not blocking anything. Change of plans. Can even theoretically handle an Embercleave here, although I could really use a Brazen Borrower to make me more confident in that statement. Burning Tree Emissary is a 2/2. Yeah, this is the thing about the Gruul decks with the Burning Tree Emissaries and whatnot is this card often looks pretty silly. Question is, should I start attacking? I honestly think it might be right to start doing that. They can't kill Lovestruck Beast with a Domery's Ambush. I guess if they play Questing Beast and all out attack, I still have a bunch of tokens to block them with. So yeah, I think I start getting aggro. I do not know what that was about. Probably not playing around shock. Alright, there's the questing beast we expected to see. I can still kill off a bunch of stuff here if they attack. They decide not to. There's Brazen Borrower. Alright, so Embercleave is no longer a problem. I see. Thank you, Tammy, for clarifying that for us. I think I just hold back here. It's pretty... One thing that I'm tempted to do is bounce Questing Beast Spell Collector, just attack with double Lovestruck, which is going to start forcing chumps pretty soon. But if they just block one of the Lovestrucks with Emissary Spellbreaker, that's not, like, ideal. I could also, I guess, attack with double Lovestruck, and maybe they make blocks such that I blow them out with Brazen Borrower. You know what? I'm kind of down to try that. Let's see what they do here. I'd be a little surprised if they didn't block with Questing Beast, but this works. Whoop.
Suspicious.
They're very suspicious, yes. Alright, well, love blowing out double blocks. Let's get rid of the Emissary and the Pelt Collector. Right? Yeah, I want to get rid of the Pelt Collector for sure, and then I might as well kill their bigger creature instead of their smaller one. Obviously, Emissary lets them kind of go Pelt Collector, Emissary, and have a little bit more of an explosive turn next. I think that's fine. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. There's still some game left to play, but all my draws are really great, except for lands. And I do get 2 of them next turn. Come on, give me something, give me something. Oof. Alright, well, still not seeing Embercleave mana on my opponent's side. I think we can't be attacking with Lovestruck Beast anymore. They have too many blockers to throw in the way of it. Or can I? You know what? You know what? I'm at 14. I have 4 1/1s. You don't have Embercleave mana yet. If you want to triple block this, be my guest. Take that. I'm not even dead to you attacking all out and putting Embercleave on something. In fact, you can't attack all out and put Embercleave on something because I will kill you on the backswing. So now you gotta actually do some thinking, opponent. Just Pelt Collector. You know what? Okay. There's Embercleave. That... Yeah, we have a lot of draws to kill our opponent flat out now. A lot of draws to kill them flat out. Fae of Wishes is absolutely one of them. Easy game, easy life. Thud expansion, baby. Thud expansion. Okay, well, that was a nice easy 2-0 against Gruul. It's not like their draws were great, but I still think the Temur Clover plan lines up against aggro pretty darn well.
Wait, if you just be... Does that mean you just stop existing as a streamer?
I think it means he gives me the account. And now I'm Old Man Aaron G. I prefer to think that was just Aaron from the future, who is just helping me test against actual good decks because he wants me to win this upcoming Mythic Invitational. So I'm just like laddering, looking for myself. That's how I'd like to put it. I should probably like friend that person and try to figure out what that was about.
I mean,
it's not that uncommon a first name last letter combination.
No.
But they may not know that they just played against an Aaron G.
That's true. They just...
Alright, so last match of the night coming up, I think. We've had a bunch of really good ones. We're undefeated so far. We won everything with Blue-Black Flash and Niv, and then we beat Gruul with Clover, and here we go, looking for the last win to 6-0 of the evening. Have you two not met yet, Ace of Swords and Ace of Rainbows?
little War and Peace.
Just a little. I mean, I like that your first idea of like a time travel alternate dimensions novel is War and Peace. Not a big sci-fi library up in there.
What? No. I was talking about Ace of Rainbows and Ace of Swords. Like opposites, but the same.
All right, so you've got the perennially challenging hand where you have a pile of cards, but none of them are good cards. I think on the play, this still feels like a keep. It is solid against aggro and has some tools against control. But I could be wrong about that. This Rootbound Crag would probably be a temple if I were playing the standard version of the deck. Second Beanstalk Giant. Well, if our opponent's playing like Mono Red or something, I don't mind having a pile of Beanstalk Giants. Or is it Gruul? Oh! Okay, well, Beanstalk Giant looking much worse now. You can just get the hell out of here, Sprite Dragon. Updated Clover Knights deck lists. You'll probably have to ask Tammy about that. It's not a deck I've done much thinking about.
I haven't been.
Yeah, honestly, red-blue spells is an archetype that Temur Clover sometimes has trouble with. The fact that they're not shocking this token this turn is really good news, though. If I could draw just a nice stomp, I'd be very happy. Ether Gust. That one's also pretty good. Okay. No idea how many counters our opponent has, so I'm just going to get the island and gust the Sprite Dragon now. Just put that one right the heck back, thank you very much. I guess it was pretty likely they were going to tap out next turn. They probably have like a bunch of spells in hand, so I didn't have to gust that. Okay, so they didn't put it on top of their library, they just happen to have another one. But their life total's getting kind of low. And we do have Thud in our deck. Another Love Struck. Alright. Well, I'll attack first. And then what? I could Beanstalk into casting Borrower as a potential blocker for Sprite Dragon, which forces them... Yeah, I'm actually kind of into doing that. Let's just do that. Yeah, it's a kind of neat one. It's, wow, that's actually super weird looking. Huh. Alright. It's like a... almost like a computer simulation.
Weird.
The mountain is not from the same set, but it is also cool looking. Good taste, Big O Lobo. Good taste. Oh, I still got the old lands in here. I need to get rid of these. Ugh. Alright, so our opponent's in a tough spot. They know a Brazen Borrower is coming down. They don't know I have another 1/1, so if they try to kill this 1/1 to stay alive, it might not work. They also have to either hold up a counterspell or not take any damage, because Fae of Wishes and a Thud is 5 damage right now with Lovestruck Beast out. They are attacking. That's interesting. I agree with that, Tammy. They probably can't kill the token. Alright, so I'm going to make a token here before attacking. This way, even if they have like Ether Gust for Lovestruck Beast or something like that, I still win with attack with Brazen Borrower plus Wish for Thud. You can see already here how Thud being just like 1 mana cheaper is actually going to be a huge deal in a lot of games. Yep, that was exactly what they had, and now they're dead. Yeah, that is Mirage Land Art. I think these were just like put on Arena at some point. Mirage is definitely not in Historic. That's going a little far back. Thud. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the value damage. Three cheers for random pile of good cards. Ooh, what is it, Kevlar Man? Is it Spirit of the Night? Okay, so blue-red prowess. I assume they've got Arclight Phoenixes and... I mean, maybe not Arclight Phoenixes, but probably some either Arclight Phoenixes or Crackling Drake. Kind of into just treating this like an aggro deck, cutting an Escape to the Wilds for a Red Cap melee here. If I see a bunch of Arclight Phoenixes in game 2, I might bring in Grafdigger's Cage for game 3. For now, I'm not going to yet, though. Crash of Rhinos. What an embarrassing 8-drop to hit home here. Goodness.
Oh!
Ah.
These lands are great.
Alright, so question is, do I run out Innkeeper on turn 1? I don't think so. I imagine they play a bunch of removal spells that can kill it. I'd rather get at least one card off it. Double red, that's promising. I could just go double Innkeeper this turn, but they might just have 2 removal spells. Alright, many possibilities. Phages and Momir? Boy, vey. Why would you deliberately put that card in? That's so awful. Alright, are we discarding Arclight Phoenix now? Ox of Agonis. Alright, looks like Arclight Phoenix probably is not the thing that's happening. Huh. I think this is just second Clover, first Innkeeper? Like, no. It's second Clover, hold. They play like a friggin' Crackling Drake next turn. I would like to double Bone Crusher, double Innkeeper. Bells Unlock is at least a card that's on Arena. I think Bells Unlock can just be the Phage of Arena without them needing to insert another Phage deliberately. The opponent is, in Magic parlance, they are spinning their wheels. That is a Fae of Wishes. That's not very helpful. Gosh, I still don't really want to play these out yet. I'm just seeing nothing to kill with them, and my opponent's probably got a handful of removal spells, so I'm just going to keep waiting. Hey! Autumn, wait. Allow... Oh. I see. That was weird. For a second, Ace, I thought you'd given me some bits or something because I was seeing a weird message in Stream Decker, but it was just like the word phage, for some reason, is a prohibited term? It was weird. Alright, so it's going to be a while before Ox of Agonis can really do anything. A Sprite Dragon this turn, no matter how much they can pump it, just dies. Zero clue, Ace. Play another Sprite Dragon. Play another Sprite Dragon. Ah, okay. Actually, I should have killed that before it attacks so they wouldn't be able to chart a course. Let's see. So I could stomp them. Yeah, let's just do this now. Yes, I'm aware, Tammy. I'm aware. Alright, so Dragon's just dead, which means I get to stomp them twice. If I just a blue source next turn and go like Innkeeper, Bone Crusher, that would be the bee's knees. They can get back Ox now. I love how it escapes with a 1/1 counter out. That's so random. Oh, Storming Entity, right. That would have been a good reason not to kill the Sprite Dragon and hit them for 4 right away. That was probably too greedy of me, and now this thing's a huge threat. +1/+1 until end of turn every time they play a non-creature spell. You know what? Okay. Okay, fine. You've made your point. Here, 3 power, go. Don't play Flame Sweep. Will scoop for Flame Sweep here. Yeah, we're gonna die really fast unless I had a blue source, but having 3, ooh. Yeah, that stomp was incredibly greedy. I just did not realize they were just going to have 3 Sprite Dragons in hand. Ouch. Alright, that's a lot of damage. If I can get Fae of Wishes down, that's like some defense. But Ox of Agonis now refilling our opponent's hand is a huge deal. Ooh, okay. Blue source. Give me an untapped blue source. I'm drawing 3 cards here. You gotta work with me a little bit. Yes. Good. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now we're playing a game of Magic the Gathering. Yep, hello, Burial. They have not done a good job of printing a bunch of, They have not done a good job of printing, adventures and sets outside of Eldraine, so there's not a lot to do with the deck. Yeah, Lord Nikon, it's the right classroom, although we're having kind of a weird class today. It's been a strange game. I probably punted somewhere. I mean, I definitely punted somewhere. I really should have thought about Storming Entity. On the plus side, it looks like they're not an Arclight Phoenix deck. Okay, Ox of Agonis coming down. I'm really hoping they get greedy and go for... I mean, they're not going to go for, like, extra lethal here. That's not even a thing. So they're going to draw some cards. Hoping they try playing out more spells in case of interaction so that I can bounce all the Sprite Dragons, crash through. Alright, that counts. That does count. I guess if they have Mystical Dispute, I'll die, but I think at this point the information that they have Mystical Dispute might be more valuable in the rest of the game, as I don't think I'm winning this. Alright. I'm in a pickle here. Taking quite a lot of damage, even if I can clear the, clear everything. Alright. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're totally right. You're totally right. All right, that's a play I'll think about for next game. That would have been very good. That would have been a very good play that I did not make at all because I did not think about it. Okay, so we've got I think I just have to cast this thing. If I hit some combination of like lands and Bone Crusher Giant, this could still work because I have another Clover. Reading Pool's a tough land to work with. Island's a better land to work with, but unfortunately, let's see. So they go Sprite Dragon, and any spell they have kills me?
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
So my best bet's to hope they don't have any spells somehow. I don't think that's going to work, but we'll make him go through with it. Yeah, if I made them discard the Sprite Dragons, I'd be in much better shape here. So many things to think about for next game. Still definitely need to get used to different patterns of playing in a different format. Yep, thanks, Boo. Eddie186. It's a good name for following my stream. Thanks for doing so. All right, Oppo, you got one spell? You got one spell? Aw, unfair, unfair. All right, well, that was a horrible draw from my side, and I still probably win that one if I don't punt and... Well, I guess they were taking me out with Stormwing Entity that turn either way, but... Still pretty down for Red Cap melee, just kills Ox, kills Sprite Dragon, nice and easy. Negate's a bit tempting just because they're running a bunch of Thrill possibility, but I think I'm fine with where I'm at here. Okay. To say the least, okay. No, it's good. It's really good. That was a joke.
I'm confused.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Changes in his story.
Well, they could have had Spell Pierce there and countered my Clover. There's a 1-mana way to counter a Lucky Clover now. Let me guess. I guess right. That's pretty good. Alright, so the real question here is, am I going for another Clover, or am I just going... I think this is just the usual Beanstalk into second Clover, not get greedy kind of line.
Nobody.
McMuffin56, thanks for the follow. Less of an on-theme name, but I still appreciate your patronage here. Yep, this is making up for the last draw for sure. Just, pretty hard for this one to go too far south. I was really hoping to see a Stormwing Entity there, so I could kill everything next turn, but I'll take beating up the Sprite Dragon and leaving them without a threat in play. That one is fine. I mean, this deck can generate a lot of damage out of nowhere, so we're, you know, not out of the woods, but I wouldn't say we're in the woods either. We're kind of on the border of the woods, to continue my metaphor for some reason. So we'll kill Dragon, kill the opponent. The opponent having a deck full of lava coils is also good news for us here. So I could go Innkeeper, make some tokens. I actually kind of like Innkeeper, make some tokens. I don't really need the cards off of Innkeeper too much. This puts in almost as much power as playing Bone Crusher Giant would have, and it means that we get a little bit of pressure even if the opponent has a removal spell. Whereas if we put out Bone Crusher and their play is like Lava Coil Stormwing Entity. Oh, it puts 4 power into play. Yeah, that was the right thing to do, I think. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Flame Sweep from them. It doesn't really hit any of their stuff. But a lot of their deck is just air, and they really don't have a lot of time to be playing out cards that are just air. That just draw them more cards and don't actually kill me.
Okay.
That's fine. Stormwing. Ooh, no Stormwing. Okay. So I'm thinking this is just Lovestruck Beast into another Clover. We're not in any real danger of dying yet. And with 3 Clovers out, if they like bounce the Lovestruck Beast or something, they're in huge trouble. Ooh, Brazen Bar, alright. Opponent is attempting to race. Fae of Wishes can grab Unsummon to briefly stall them if racing is happening. Naked Ox of Agonis doesn't bother me too much. Any adventure spell that interacts with their creatures wins me the game on the spot. Ether Gust is very good. Yeah, so now I just get to go Ether Gust, bounce the Ox, play Bone Crusher Giant, and it should be nigh impossible for me to die. They could play like 2 Sprite Dragons and a Shock and an Opt this turn, I guess, and get me. I could attack, but even if they block a token with Ox, I don't quite kill them with Thud. I can't wish for Red Cap melee because it's in my deck, which is a little unfortunate. Actually, let's just do this. Let's attack all in here. If I play out Bone Crusher Giant, they're still on the verge of death, and I get to hold up Ether Gust to counter Thrill of Possibility, bounce a Sprite Dragon, any of that good stuff. And even if they deal with Lovestruck Beast somehow, I still kill them with Thud. I think this play gives me the most flexibility. Chart of Course is fine. I can still counter an Ox of Agonis if they try to bring it out.
I wonder why they didn't attack.
They might just be trying to find Sprite Dragons that have haste. That would be the most likely explanation.
That's what I was thinking, but...
Okay, Lava Coil and Bone Crusher Giant. This I'm going to Ether Gust. Because if Bone Crusher Giant lives, then the opponent shouldn't have any outs. Thud. Nope, that's it. Close one. Definitely glad we played conservatively. If we had done the original play as intended and they'd had Sprite Dragon, we would have died. But that is that's 6-0 on the stream. 6-0 overall with Temur Clover in Historic. Have not yet lost with this deck in Historic. Seems kind of plausible, honestly. There are not a lot of good cards that are not in Standard that are in Historic. So playing a deck that's just good in Standard like Temur Clover is, that gets slightly better mana, that maybe loses its most devastating matchup in Temur Rec and trades it for what I think is a better matchup in Bant Nexus. All this seems kind of good. So, yeah, on the whole, I recommend giving Temur Clover a shot. It might be even better after bans happen. If Nexus of Fate leaves and all the Wilderness Reclamation decks go away and everybody just plays the board, that is a world where I want to be playing Temur Clover. Okay, let's find someone to raid. That's going to be the end of the stream, as promised. Thanks, everybody, for viewing. I stream every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday at 6 p.m. PST, so be sure to hang out here. Or coming over here at that time if you want to see more Historic Magic over the next week or two. Also, make sure to follow the stream if you haven't yet, so that you get notified when I'm online, because you're not going to find this much Historic Temur Clover content anywhere else, possibly for good reason. Who's on Twitch that we can raid, Boo? I see Nessa, I see Voxy. Quick.
What?
What's the matter? Nobody?
Well, no, I just wanted to see.
Oh, Sidetrack's on. I'm on. You can't raid me. I'm going to raid Sidetrack. Alright, everybody, we're going to go raid Sidetrack now. Follower of the stream, good friends. And, yeah, thanks for watching Copper Dream. Everybody was here. Slowly developing memes. Alright, let's go raid. Thanks, everybody, again for watching, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Raid's kicking off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off we go.